And I'm John.
And this is Comicsplaining,
the show where nobody beefs with the Fantastic Four.
Why is that?
I don't know. Have you ever noticed that, though? Like, the X-Men will fight with people, the Avengers will fight with people, the Inhumans will fight with people.
I mean,
the
Doom.
Defenders.
There's always Doom.
Doom?
That's not the same. We're talking about superhero teams.
Right, we're talking... They're all beefing with each other. The Eternals, apparently.
Yep.
Oof.
So they'll all fight with one another.
Wait. Who do the Eternals beef with?
There
the
was
Avengers, right? Wasn't there Avengers versus Eternals?
I don't... Probably, but there was very recently, actually, Eternals versus the X-Men, so...
Well, that explains why I haven't read that, because I'm not up to date.
Yeah. No,
I'm
it was
working
recent,
on it.
very recent.
I've been reading again. I mean, I'm not reading recent shit again. I've been reading with my attempt to read all the... Okay, so I've been trying...
Oh, no.
When you know it's bad when you have to start a separate explanation.
You're having a digression for your digression.
I've always had beef with my claim to be an X-Men expert because
because you have imposter syndrome. Go on.
Right, because I don't have full understanding of the New Mutants and X-Force and some other branching teams sometimes, and I've always felt like bad about it, sitting here claiming I know everything when I haven't read all the Wolverine solos and all of the Cable solos.
Important.
I don't have a full picture of everything going on everywhere all of the time.
Important context for this is that Ripley used to be into Star Wars when they were a kid, and as a Star Wars nerd who's assigned female at birth, there is a feeling that you have to read and know absolutely everything, otherwise people will call you fake. You know?
Gatekeepy weirdness. I don't know if that's just, like, me or what the hell, but I felt like I had to know everything, so...
Which is why when we moved in together, Ripley had an entire bookshelf full of Star Wars books.
You know, I started reading the New Mutants, the new stuff, because magic's in it.
I've read a little bit of New
Mutants.
That's
it, just because magic's in it.
Yeah, I know you like Ileana.
She's actually cool.
So, but yeah, back on the topic though, you were talking about how the Fantastic Four don't really get involved in superhero beef. And I think we determined that that's because of Sue.
Right. I think she just gives everybody the mom look if they get out of line.
Because Sue, as I said earlier, is the most mom-coded character that I've ever seen.
She is a mom, but she's also mom-coded.
Exactly.
She's not just a mom, she is like the mom.
She acts like a mom all the time.
There are other moms, but she's like the mom.
Yeah, it's her thing, for sure.
They can't take that from her.
Yeah, so that's what we were talking about.
I never considered the Fantastic Four have beef.
They're never home. Who has beef with them?
Well, I mean, individuals. The Thing has beef with Hulk.
Well, I mean...
He does. He very specifically has beef with Hulk.
Kind of, yeah, but they're also buddies.
They are, but when Hulk needs to be put down, everyone goes to the Thing, and he's more than willing to do it.
Well, yeah, because they're buddies.
They're buddies, and they're not buddies.
Yeah.
It depends on who's home in the Hulk today.
I mean...
I don't know that much about the Fantastic Four is the thing.
Well, yeah, they kind of just do their own thing.
Yeah.
And then they're not home most of the time, so...
And they're usually not that interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why no one beefs with them.
Well, that's because they're, like, the oldest thing in Marvel, except for Cap, obviously.
Yeah, but Cap was grandfathered in.
Exactly. But the Fantastic Four are just kind of...
They're the oldest modern Marvel thing that wasn't grandfathered in at a later date.
Modern-ish.
They're part of the modern continuous story.
I mean, yeah, they're still around.
Yeah, Cap was revived, literally.
Yep. We were also talking about Cap recently and what a dinosaur he is.
I mean, when isn't he? Even he suffers from mutant hatred, which is weird.
So, I think of it the way that, like, an aging rock star is.
Mm.
Like, when they were young and new, they were very rebellious and went against the grain. But it's been long enough now that they haven't evolved or changed with the times, and now they kind of are just part of the, the norm.
Oh, no.
You know?
They used to be with it, then they changed what it was.
Yep. It will happen to you.
It happened to Captain America.
So,
oh, no.
I think the issue with Cap is that he was created in a different time and he's never been updated at all.
Well, I think JMS just started writing a new Captain America.
Ooh,
series.
That's exciting, actually.
So, we may actually see an update in who Captain America is.
That would be interesting.
Spicy.
But
yeah.
For now, though, we're gonna...
That makes me want to read Captain America.
Yeah, I mean, I picked up Eternals because I discovered that one of the writers I'd read basically everything of. God, who is it? Kieran Gillen.
Kieran Gillen.
Kieran Gillen is one of the people...
Love that dude.
Kieran Gillen is one of the people I'd made an active decision to read everything they wrote.
Because he's good.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. And I recently discovered he did an Eternals run. So now I'm reading Eternals.
He just announced a new creator-owned
Ooh.
project that looks really interesting. It's basically about a world where there are exactly 6 superhumans. And the plot of the series is about keeping those 6 superhumans from fighting each other.
God.
So, that sounds very interesting. I love Kieran Gillen.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why I'm reading everything he ever wrote.
We are going to get to Kieran Gillen with Thor eventually.
Oh, yeah. I hadn't even thought of that, but he's...
We're gonna theoretically get to Kieran Gillen with the X-Men eventually.
Yeah, we're gonna get there eventually, but for right now, we gotta do this. We gotta deal with Len.
Well, one day, hey, we have JMS to look forward to.
Kieran Gillen, and then Matt Fraction, who's kinda
But, compared to some writers...
Compared to Len, yeah. So, can you guys tell me what happened last time with Thor?
Yeah. Mostly.
Okay.
Things happen?
So they were watching TV, and on the news, oh no, breaking news, there has been a assumedly communist revolt down in
Costa Verde.
Yeah.
Costa Verde.
The most generic South American country.
We're coming off... Didn't our last writer take us to Vietnam?
That was a long time ago.
Vietnam was quite a while ago.
I know, but we've been to an actual country.
Yeah, no, we've been to many actual countries.
We've also been to South America before.
Oh, yes. No, we've been to many actual countries, but this is not new for Marvel.
I know.
Marvel makes up their own countries all the time.
I know.
I mean, Latveria.
I know, but...
Deal with it.
Most of them are, grandfathered in at this point.
So,
okay, but we're still reading comics from 1976.
That's fair.
Thor sees on the news that not only is this happening, but Firelord is involved
Motherfucking Firelord.
And he is involved with the revolution, so this cannot happen since Thor was involved in getting Firelord loose.
Helping him quit his job.
Yeah, so this will not do. So
obviously that's Thor's job to take care of, as everything is all the time.
Wait.
Right, and Jane has to go because Jane took Spanish in high school.
In college, actually.
I'm just thinking though. So Thor thought he'd be blamed?
No, he just felt responsible.
Okay, that makes more sense because
no,
I'm just trying to think who would blame Thor.
No, absolutely no one would blame Thor except Thor himself.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That actually tracks because it would be funny if Galactus was blaming Thor for his former herald helping with the spread of communism.
Care.
Well, yes.
That's why John's saying that would be funny.
Galactus, who cares about the spread of communism. Mm-hmm. That Galactus.
So...
Anyway, they get down there.
Oh, yeah, and he specifically didn't want to take the Warriors 3, who were also there.
Right. The Warriors 3 were there, and they didn't go.
So they go down there, and it turns out that Firelord is being controlled by a witch with a stone on her head, whose name is a slur, but it doesn't really matter.
Yep.
And then Thor ends up getting taken control of. And then
Jane has a knife fight.
Yeah, Jane has a knife fight.
Yep.
And wins. But is almost shot anyway, because if Jane wins, that means the revolution loses.
Okay, so...
She had a knife fight, and then she almost got shot because the revolution would have died with her if they didn't have Firelord.
Yeah, because during the knife fight, Jane was winning, and then the slur name lady was like, oh no, why is my magic headband not working, I guess?
Clearly, Firelord was hard carrying the communist revolution.
Well, yeah, they weren't doing very well until they had Firelord.
Right, so then,
Thor snapped out of it because of Jane.
Right,
yeah.
Because they were going to kill Jane, so Thor said the nay.
No, he did not.
He said nay.
He said nay. He just said nay. Not...
And then he kicked all the communists' asses.
Handed them over to the president, to El Presidente, and left?
And took his leave.
Firelord was also snapped out of the mind control, and the mind control gem was destroyed.
And they slagged a tank.
Yes, they slagged a tank. And then Firelord was like, yeah, whatever, and he flew away.
Also, Baldur, there was a wizard, Igron, was wormtailing in Odin's ear and making him be like a real fucking asshole.
Yeah.
To all of his people. And Baldur was being kind of bitchy about it, but like in an understandable way.
Yeah.
But like he was being kind of a cunt about it. And so that ended up, because he said that in front of Snakar the Sleazeball or whatever.
Yeah!
Yep, you got it. You shockingly remembered his name, but not his title.
Snakar the Skulker.
There you go.
Oh, God.
Snakar. You know, the old Norse god Snakar.
Definitely a real Norse god.
For sure.
So he got brought before him and got sentenced to being thrown in the dungeon, but then broke loose, and he was going to go to Midgard to find the Warriors 3 to help him.
And Thor, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's basically what happened. We're going to go ahead and read Thor number 248 from March of 1976, written by Len Wein, penciled by John Buscema, inked by Tony DeZuniga, colored by Glynis Wein, lettered by Joe Rosen, and the cover is also by John Buscema.
We have a changing of the guard.
No.
Kinda, not really. We've gone over these people before.
Yeah.
Yep.
That, isn't our inker new?
Nope.
No, we had him before.
Okay.
Thor and Jane return home to a storm. A huge one that just struck out of nowhere, apparently. Though he usually doesn't mind a bit of rain, the god of thunder finds this weather to be unnerving. He and his lady discuss this as they sit down on the roof of her building, but their attention is diverted by a cry for help. A window washer was caught in the sudden downpour, and his lines have snapped, sending him and all his equipment plummeting toward the street below.
So not only was this a sudden storm, this is a sudden storm that the window washer couldn't have learned about in a weather report.
No, this is completely out of nowhere, and also extremely strong.
Okay, magical storm, check.
We are reading about the literal god of thunder. I don't know why this surprises you.
Well, no, I'm just thinking about a window washer in a storm, and the exact person who would check the weather first.
Yeah, he's not having a great time here. So Thor takes off to save the man, but he decides that smashing the scaffolding into thousands of razor-sharp metal shards is probably a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him accurate on that.
Also, Jane is fleeing inside of her apartment building, just so we know. So instead of doing that, Thor lands on the ground, where he catches both the man and the platform, each in one hand. As he's set down, the window washer recognizes his savior and asks, if he's supposed to be the god of thunder, why not knock it off with the storm already? I think that's a fair point, and Thor seems to agree. The Odinson raises his hammer to take control of the gale, but is instantly struck by lightning as if in retaliation.
No.
He's fine, obviously.
Oh, yeah, but that's bad. That's bad,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it does knock him down for a moment and rile him up. Kneeling on the sidewalk, he exerts his power over the skies in the form of beams, which is not usually how that works.
Yeah.
Thank you, Len.
Well, thanks, Len, for giving him weather beams.
I thought it was supposed to be like stamping.
Yeah, usually how it works is he stamps his cane twice, and it changes the weather. That hasn't been consistent for quite a while, actually, but it's never been this. So
this is new.
This is new, yeah. He struggles for a moment as the clouds seem to be resisting somehow. But eventually his strength of will wins out and the sky's clear. Drained, he walks back to Jane's apartment, where she informs him that there's now another problem. She points to the TV, which is showing a live news report about a traffic snarl near Central Park. Of course, the traffic itself isn't Thor's responsibility, but the cause of it he might want to look into, because at the center of the clusterfuck is who else but the Warriors 3, arguing with a whole squad of cops.
God damn it.
Again?
Yeah. Thor is less than thrilled about this and wonders how they could have caused this mess. But his exasperation is tinged with fondness for his friends, and so he takes off once more to resolve the shenanigans. Just before Thor arrives, we learn the cause of this disturbance. So it seems that Volstagg was walking either across the street or in the street, I'm unclear, and some driver decided to ram into him.
Why?
Because he was in the way. And they thought that they could just...
do a hit and run.
Exactly. We don't get to see the vehicle in question, but the Lion of Asgard is still up and roaring. So I think we can deduce what's become of it.
There's not much. To shreds, you say.
Yeah.
See, this is why he needs to carry a sword.
The cops don't really seem to care about the attempted vehicular manslaughter, and just want the Warriors 3 to vacate the road so they can clear the traffic that's gotten backed up since this occurred.
I can't wait for Asgard to sue the city of New York.
And they are threatening to arrest Volstagg if he doesn't move. I don't know on what grounds, but whatever.
I know a lawyer who seems to really like superheroes.
Luckily, Thor arrives just in the nick of time, and after gathering information, he decides to solve the dispute in the most fair and equitable way possible.
Are they superheroes? They're more public menaces.
The Warriors 3, for sure.
Well, they're friends of Thor. I'm sure Matt Murdock would take on their case.
So, Thor begins physically moving all the cars so that Volstagg doesn't get arrested for disrupting traffic.
The
cops are stupefied, as is John, as we all watch the Odinson first pick up a city bus, then a taxi, and then everything else, carefully placing them in orderly rows to send them on their merry way.
It's impressive they don't break.
He's careful. His buddies then grab on as he takes off once again, returning all of them to Jane's apartment. They arrive at the window, where Thor remarks that he can hear two voices within, which is strange because he's certain he left Jane alone. Who should he find as he climbs inside but Balder the Brave, tattered and laid out to recover from his journey here.
He's looking a little weird.
Yeah.
He's had a rough time.
Yeah.
Jane is still wearing her shirt that she tore apart in the jungle. The poor woman can't get a single goddamn minute to change. So Balder reports that he had to fight his way across the Bifrost to tell Thor about what has happened since Odin returned to Asgard, which he does, proclaiming that Thor's father has been stricken mad by the influence of the villainous Igron.
Dang it.
Of course, Thor swears to fix everything, which means it's time to take off once again.
This has happened before. Thor has had to return to Asgard because some shit has been up with Odin.
This happens constantly.
How often has...
While exiled.
Mm-hmm.
How often has Igron specifically done this?
Once.
This time?
is the one time.
Okay. I was like, we haven't actually had this specific thing happen before.
Not with this specific guy.
The one time Igron did anything, it was with the dupes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he was also involved in a Loki plan. Actually, the face-off plan. Igron was involved in that.
Yeah.
But not heavily.
Okay.
The one thing he did do was the duplicates.
Which is weird. It's still weird.
Yeah, well, yes. But, so, of course, Baldur and the Warriors 3 will be accompanying him. That's a foregone conclusion. But we have to spend a few panels to yet again try to justify Jane joining this expedition. At this point, I'm more annoyed that they have this conversation every goddamn time than I would be if they had just never brought it up.
Why don't they
just... God, can Jane just put on a shirt?
Yeah.
Why don't they establish some ground rules? Oh, no, they can't do that because the reader might not understand why Jane is coming along.
Why did we get rid of Sif again?
To bring Jane back.
Why?
I don't know.
Why are we so attached to Jane?
With a twirl of his hammer, Thor transports them all to the other end of the Bifrost, where they find Heimdall doing his job as always. The Watchman denies them entry, saying that Odin has commanded Thor and his companions not be let into the city. The Thunder God understands that Heimdall is only doing his job, and so tries to reason with him to get him to stand down, but it seems that Heimdall is not budging, which means they'll have to fight their way through him. And not just him, as he blows his horn to summon a whole squad of warriors, who I guess were all just standing around in full armor waiting for Thor to show up.
They might actually have been when Baldur got away.
True, that did just happen.
A small level of competency is displayed by people who would do harm to Asgard.
Of course, these Asgardian fighters are fierce, but they're no match for our heroes. None of them even have names, so they obviously don't matter.
Yeah.
They get taken out pretty quickly, but that still leaves Heimdall, who is significantly more of a threat. Unfortunately for him, however, he did underestimate one of their number, as Volstagg pops up to give him a mighty whack on the head with a purloined mace.
Good.
I know usually I complain that people getting the drop on Heimdall is dumb because he can see and hear everything, but I actually really love the idea that he just wasn't paying attention to Volstagg because he didn't think he was a threat.
Volstagg couldn't do anything. He's harmless.
He doesn't have a weapon.
Well, he picked one up somewhere. So the Lion of Asgard sought to spare Heimdall from more serious injury, but having done the deed, he is a bit concerned that he may have caused some massive head trauma.
We're starting to worry about that now. Okay.
Thor assesses the bridge guard's condition and declares that he will be fine, though likely with a nasty headache. Finally, everyone takes cloaks from the fallen warriors to shroud themselves as they pass through the city. The city itself has definitely seen better days. It seems that the issues with Odin's rule have not been confined only to unjust accusations of treason, but he's let the entire place go to shit.
How long has it been? A month?
Don't know, a while. The streets are filthy and squalid, the once proud people of Asgard left to rummage for scraps to feed their families. Yet according to Baldur, the common people maintain allegiance and faith in the Allfather. He's not sure exactly why, but it seems like further proof that something foul is afoot. Still, hope is not yet lost. Baldur the Brave leads his comrades through the city to a hidden cellar, where he has gathered those who see the truth of things. A small band of rebels, including Hildegard and Krista.
Yay!
Krista can fight now?
I mean, I don't know about that, but she's here.
She's willing to rebel against Odin.
Actually, honestly, if I'm telling you the honest truth, I don't think I saw her again in the next couple issues.
That's fair.
She's here, right now.
Alright.
The important fact is Hildegard is here.
Hildegard is here, and she is useful.
Yes.
Thor is happy to see both of them. Also here are a few other guys who none of us have ever heard of, who are Brodag the Black, Holvar of the Single Eye, Cossack the Crimson-Haired, and Scovel the Shaggy One.
What are these names?
As far as Asgardian cognomens go, those ones are pretty rough, but these guys are loyal to Thor and ready to help save their people, so I guess they're fine.
So even though they have weird names, we'll take them.
Yeah.
Brodag the Black isn't so bad.
That one's not bad. The other ones are weird.
Holvar,
Scovel, the shaggy one, is definitely the worst.
Holvar of the Single Eye.
That one feels like an insult.
Isn't there a better way to say he's missing an eye?
Well, they can't call him One-Eyed because that's one of the kettings for Odin.
So Odin owns that, I guess.
Yeah. Even though he still has both his eyes at this point in the comics.
Wait, so what you're telling me is that because Odin owns One-Eyed,
yeah,
he's making it a nightmare for anyone else who has...
He trademarked it.
Yeah.
Yes, he's made it a nightmare, and he sends his Odin lawyers. Well, because of course they're called Odin lawyers.
Of course they are.
They wouldn't not be called Odin lawyers. Everything else that involving him is an Odin thing.
Of course.
His lawyers are Odin lawyers.
Of course they are.
So he sends his Odin lawyers to get them to cease and desist
His
any
attorneys.
use.
Yeah. That's really good.
That is.
So the first order of business is making a plan. The good news is, Jane knows exactly what to do for some reason.
Okay, why?
She's all fired up as she declares that their first order of business should be freeing the Vizier from the Tower of Solitude.
Seth?
Jane has been a real fountain of wisdom lately.
Wait, Jane knows about Seth?
So that he can shed some light on Odin's condition, as he's the one closest to the Allfather and may know more about it.
It's Sif's soul of a goddess.
She's got a good point, but I think it's a valid question to wonder, why does she know this, and why is she suddenly the big brain in the room?
Yeah. Why does she know about the intricate politics of Asgard?
The Odinson agrees with her proposal and declares that they will make their move tonight.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Igron brings the bad news to Odin. He just spoke with Heimdall, and as he feared, Thor and his companions have returned. This is a big problem for both of them, but when Odin asks what Igron thinks he should do about it, the advisor defers to his liege. Solemnly, the Allfather declares that though Thor is Odin's son, if he should challenge the one who now occupies the throne, he will die.
Rip Thor, I guess.
As Thor leads his posse through the dimly lit streets, his mind is occupied by concern for his father. Though Baldur says that Igron is the cause of Odin's change, the God of Thunder ponders whether it may not have been him who destabilized his father's mental condition through his repeated refusal to obey Odin's orders regarding Jane.
No.
I think this is actually very in character for him
Yeah,
to be worried about.
Actually,
I'm not saying that Thor's...
But I also think this line of thought makes no sense. I think he's overthinking this, and he might have an anxiety disorder.
This is actually pretty in character for him.
Unfortunately, but...
He takes the blame.
It is frustrating, because it's like, that's dumb.
It is dumb, but it's maybe the most realistic thing happening in this comic.
It's the most in-character thing
True.
we've seen in quite a while, I think.
True.
The group arrives at the Tower of Solitude, which is very well fortified and guarded, considering all it has is one old wizard.
Mm-hmm.
There may be more guards than expected, but that's fine, because this isn't a stealth mission. Asgardians are more into rushing headlong into battle, which is exactly what they do, jumping out to attack while shouting, "For Asgard! For justice! For the freedom of the realm eternal!"
Notice Volstagg got rid of that mace.
He's just fucking body checking.
He's committed to this.
Okay, good on you, Volstagg.
Everybody is holding their own and making quick work of the guards, including Volstagg, who's being very useful this issue. After assessing the situation, Thor decides that he's not needed here, so he heads up the stairs to find Seth. He does hit a bit of a snag, though, as he ascends, which comes in the form of a storm giant.
Why?
Leaping out from around a corner.
Why is there a storm giant here?
Great question. He was apparently put here by Odin to guard the prisoner. Which Thor finds to be another indication of his father's change in disposition. That's a little bit suspicious, I think.
Yeah, that's sketch.
Of course, one giant is not a big deal to the Thunder God, and he swiftly knocks the fool out, or maybe kills him. He's actually not sure.
Wow! If thou dost awaken. Good God, Thor. You don't know. He's not sure. He doesn't care.
Exactly. He doesn't know. He doesn't care. He's not going to check.
So that's what we get for him making sure Heimdall doesn't die.
No,
damage.
no. This is a giant.
True.
That's very different.
Don't know, don't care.
Thor continues through the tower, apparently not really knowing where to look, but just as he starts to wonder how he's going to find the Vizier, a wizened old hand reaches out through a slot in the nearby door, and Seth's voice calls out to his prince. Thor wastes no time with the door, tearing it to pieces with his bare hands. And the Vizier is indeed trapped in this room or cell. The window is barred, so
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I mean, based off that food slot, I would
Yeah.
say so.
Well, he is pretty excited to see Thor. He's also got some bad news. Thor will have to face his father to free him from his madness, or they will all be doomed.
Oh, good.
Yay.
Sometime later, Igron rushes into the throne room to tell Odin that the Vizier has been freed, which prompts the Allfather to declare that the moment he has waited for will soon be upon them. The moment in which Thor dies.
That's not very Odin-like.
So what do you guys think of this issue?
3, I guess?
This is surprisingly competent considering what we came out of.
Yeah. I wouldn't go so far as to say that this story is good, but it's definitely better than everything else Len has written for us thus far.
This is, I think, the first storyline that might actually hold together.
To get in a swing.
We understand what's happening.
And we understand why it's happening, and
yes.
it makes sense that it's happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm
Very
gonna give it a 3.
Yep, that's where I'm at too. And that's also where CMRO is at. It was at a 3.11.
Really?
Yes. Next we've got Thor number 249 from April of 1976. Written by Len Wein, penciled by John Buscema, inked by Tony DeZuniga, colored by Glynis Wein, lettered by Joe Rosen, and the cover is by our man Jack Kirby.
Ah.
Jack's been coming back for these covers a lot
Yeah.
lately.
Jack is back.
He's not actually coming back to the comic, is he?
No. He's
And-
just been doing some covers. With the Vizier now freed, Thor's next brilliant tactical move is to go talk to his dad alone.
Oh, I just noticed. In the last one, Tony DeZuniga was a guest embellisher.
Yeah.
He is no longer a guest embellisher.
Oh, interesting. I don't know why they did that.
I don't.
Because he was working on the comic before last issue.
Well, maybe they considered him a guest.
I don't know. Maybe he was just filling in for a couple issues,
And now he's
just there.
He's just the guy.
They're like, this is what we got. So
Yep.
he's going to talk to Odin by himself. He's even politely trying to use the front door, despite the 2 guards that bar his path.
Well, it's not like they matter.
Yeah, no, he easily chumps those fools. But on his way in, he is struck by a mystic shield that has been placed over the palace. As he stands in place, unable to cross the threshold, Odin's implacable gaze appears before him to explicitly state that Thor is not allowed in. The God of Thunder begs his father to see reason and at least speak to him about it, so that they can try to come to an agreement, but his pleas are denied so strongly that he has to brace himself against the rancorous power emanating from the door.
I gotta know. Would you have counted that as Odin in the Sky with Diamonds?
Yes.
Yes, that's specifically what Odin in the Sky is.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
For a moment, he reflects on this, finally feeling that he understands what Baldur meant when he said Odin was mad, though he still questions whether it's Igron to blame or he himself.
It's Agron.
It's Odin.
He gets only a moment of reflection before another platoon of palace guards show up, armored to the teeth and with orders to detain the Odinson. He doesn't really want to fight these guys, but he also doesn't want to get thrown in the dungeon, so it seems like he doesn't really have much choice in the matter.
They're forcing his hand.
And, as we all know, Odin's guards are absolutely useless and stand no chance here.
I mean, I'm sure they're useful against...
normal people.
Yeah, normal residents of Asgard.
They're just there for the aesthetic. Odin's there. He's got the Odin force. What use does he have for guards?
He likes having the appearance of guards.
Ego boost, yeah.
It's the aesthetic.
It's just the posse to pump him up. However, just as Thor finishes downing these guys, another squad charges around the corner.
It's just an entourage of yes men.
And we don't have all day to embarrass these fools, so Thor decides it's time to make a getaway. He takes off into the skies, creating a diversion by blasting apart a nearby tower and burying half the guards in rubble.
He's only doing it because he has choices. He'd take them on if he had no choice.
Yep. He's looking, shall we say, morose as he returns to the cellar where his fellow rebels hide. Also, very interesting how Thor just quashed a rebellion and then came to start his own rebellion.
I love Revolutionary Thor.
I love Revolutionary Thor and Revolutionary Balder. Balder was a revolutionary way before Thor got involved.
Well, yeah.
Balder basically started this whole thing.
Balder is the father of the revolution, don't you know?
He's an icon.
All hail Revolutionary Balder.
The Odinson reports his bad news and admits that he has no idea what to do next. I think he's probably just upset and needs to curl up in a blanket burrito for a couple days.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that'll solve the Odin problem.
Well, no, but, emotionally.
Yeah.
Thor, to me, is, one of those favorite children/gifted student/workaholic type people who seem like they've got everything under control, but actually they're under enormous pressure to be perfect and fix everything.
Well, yeah, his high school sports star dad will not get off his ass.
Yeah.
And he's eternal, and they're both eternal, so you can't just wait for your dad to die.
And you can't, move out.
Yeah, because he literally owns this...
this plane of reality.
Yes.
He's got 5 full-time jobs between protecting Asgard, protecting Midgard, being an Avenger, being a prince, being a doctor, and that still isn't enough for Odin. He also doesn't ever get any breaks or alone time to process his emotions.
And of course his father doesn't respect his love interest.
No, the poor guy just needs a vacation to lay in bed for a week. But that wouldn't be an interesting comic book, so instead Seth is here with a plan. If Thor isn't able to break through the barrier around the palace, they need to recruit someone more versed in the mystic arts. Karnilla!
That's... Are you sure?
She's kinda... She's a little bit wishy-washy.
Okay, yeah,
she kinda goes back and forth.
I guess, we're not Team Loki anymore, Karnilla.
Karnilla's sometimes Team Loki, but then sometimes she's also cool.
Okay.
She's weird.
Fair.
She's Team Karnilla.
I like that Thor's like, hey, Balder, you want to come see Karnilla, right?
Yeah.
We haven't forgotten that.
So Thor and the Vizier will travel to the Norn Queen's lair to convince her to join them while the rest of the group stays in the city and tries to get the people on their side. Thor thinks this is a decent plan, so he asks Balder to accompany them, hoping that his presence will sway Karnilla.
It should. It should. Let's be real.
Balder himself is actually not super keen on this idea, as his relationship status with the Norn Queen is currently set to "it's complicated."
It is, isn't it?
Still, he knows that this is serious business, so he agrees to set his feelings aside to help however he can.
Those feelings can help, my guy.
But what is Jane going to do, you may ask?
I was not asking.
Don't worry, this time there's a good answer. Well, there's an answer.
But I wasn't asking.
The Vizier has an idea, and he asks everyone to roll with it for a moment as he takes a sword off the wall.
Okay, Seth, we're actually willing to hear you out because you're good at this.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
We're going to let you cook. But normally we'd say this is a bad idea.
The blade is familiar to both Thor and Jane. Indeed, it is the blade belonging to Lady Sif.
Oh.
Seth offers it to Miss Foster, and she takes it with an eerie compulsion. The blade warms and glows in her grasp, and she cries out for a moment as a light engulfs her. Then a transformation occurs, and Jane Foster is replaced by Sif as guardian warrior goddess.
Huh.
Thor and Sif embrace, thrilled and shocked to see each other again, while the Vizier explains. Sif gave up her corporeal form so that her spirit could power Jane, which means that the two souls now inhabit one body. Seth had a hunch that while in Asgard, Sif's soul might become more dominant, allowing the goddess to live once more. And when I say he had a hunch, take that absolutely at face value. He did not know that this would do anything, and he isn't sure how it happened, and he also doesn't know if Jane will come back when they go back to Earth.
Oh no, so he really was cooking. Okay.
He was just trying something.
Good God, yeah.
But, you know,
he's cooking.
It panned out, which I think just proves why Seth is the main advisor, you know?
Even when he doesn't know if this thing will do anything at all.
Igron's the advisor, the world goes to shit. When Seth is the advisor, we magically get Sif back.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess that's a problem for another time, because the point is Sif can help rally the people, while Thor goes to fetch Karnilla.
And if Jane doesn't come back, Donald Blake may have some answers demanded by the cops.
Meanwhile, in the palace, things are starting to get very weird. The Allfather has ordered a team of men to carry the Odin sword to the throne room. Agron has advised against this idea, as it may be seen as somewhat odd, and in fact is the thing that's finally making people question what the hell is happening.
Why do we need the Odin sword?
Odin's kind of skies out, thighs out today.
Oh, he does. I didn't catch that.
He's wearing, scale mail shorts.
Scale mail cycling shorts.
Don't know what's going on there. Odin, however, insists that he knows what he's doing. Moving the sword is, in fact, a clear threat to those who would consider removing him from his throne. As we all know, unsheathing the sword will cause Ragnarok, so anyone who opposes him risks facing Armageddon.
So now he's just threatening Asgard with Armageddon if people don't do what he wants. That is the biggest temper tantrum of all time.
The sword is set down in the middle of the throne room, and Odin further orders his throne to be perched atop it.
Wow.
The message is simple. If he can't rule Asgard, he will destroy it.
And everything else.
Yep. Road trip time! We got Thor, Balder, and Seth all mounted up and galloping through the confusing and undefined Asgardian countryside. They are going to see the Norn Queen, which means, of course, they have to go through the fucked up and evil-looking part. Mm-hmm. I really hate when I go to visit my cousin and I have to drive through the dark, creepy cave swamp forest thingy. The good news is, Thor isn't blaming himself for his dad being generically crazy anymore.
That is an improvement.
The bad news is, now he's thinking about girls. He was so sure that he was committed to Jane, but after seeing Sif again, old feelings are coming back up, and he's conflicted.
Oh no.
So, look, I know the popular answer to love triangles is polyamory, right? If I was going to give a fun, pithy answer to this conundrum, I'd just say he can date both of them, and then we laugh and move on.
I've actually got an even better one, since they're the same person now.
But to be completely honest, I don't think either of these women should date him.
That's probably true.
I love Thor so much. He's such a good character. He has a lot of depth, but part of that depth is that he's just kind of not good at relationships. Between not doing enough to defend Jane from his dad and literally treating Sif like a fucking pair of pants that he can pick up and throw away, seemingly without any thought, both of these ladies have been done dirty, and I think they deserve better. In short, Sif and Jane should date each other without Thor being involved. So, jot that down. The relationship chat moves on as Balder commiserates with his friend over their mutual romance trouble. He's really not comfortable with the idea of seeing Karnilla and does not think it's going to go very well. Last time they were together, if you don't remember, he basically chose to leave her to help Thor, and she was extremely pissed about it. Karnilla is kind of a toxic girl boss like that, but his intent wasn't to hurt her, and he feels pretty bad about it all the same.
Didn't she get him to swear himself to her?
Yeah, yes. He swore allegiance to her, but then he was, if
you love them, let them go.
Yeah, basically. He still wanted to, go back to Asgard and help everybody, and she was like, Fine. I never want to see you again. Basically.
So it is complicated.
Because she's a drama queen.
Yep.
But wait, we're being a little too introspective, and this is dangerously close to being a genuine conversation about feelings. Quick, time to have a pointless fight. A bunch of giants that Thor calls barbarics.
Sure.
Climb over the cliffside to attack the Asgardian trio, as they are apparently guards loyal to the Norn Queen. Thor tries to tell them that they're only coming to talk to her and have peaceful intentions, but of course the lead giant doesn't listen and attacks right away, prompting the God of Thunder to wipe the floor with the whole lot of them.
Again, probably not caring if they live or die.
The barbarics flee in terror as he calls down lightning to smite them, and though Baldur seems to give him the "whoa there, buddy," he continues to be miffed about this interaction as they all get back on their horses and continue the journey.
You know what's wild? I'm actually getting tinges of Odin from the I don't care if they live or die.
I could make an entire episode out of the way Asgardians, and Thor in particular, treat giants, okay? We don't have time to get into it right now, but I have a lot to say about that.
Okay.
So
we'd have to save that for one with 2 issues.
Yeah. Finally, they arrive at the lair of the Norn Queen, which is either a keep or a cave, depending on the creative team.
Fun.
Carnella is waiting for them, having foreseen their coming, and she is completely dripped out, as always.
With a sexy negligee, of course.
It's like... It's only the skirt that's sheer, though.
Yeah.
The entire top half is completely...
Is that a skirt or are those pants?
It's a skirt.
It's a skirt.
Okay.
It's a skirt, and then she's got like a kind of bikini thing underneath it. But honestly, it's quite a look, and I love it. She already knows why they're here, but she still allows Thor to make his case just for the satisfaction of saying no.
Not just saying no, but
nay.
She said his thing.
She says the nay.
She's rubbing it in his face. Damn.
The Odinson responds that if she doesn't help them free Odin from his madness, all of Asgard will be doomed. An argument that doesn't hold much sway for the Norn Queen, who has only ever been hated and reviled by the people of Asgard. Baldur says that if she's mad that he left her, she should take it out on him, not the city at large. Carnella is clearly still quite upset about this, as she lashes out with a swift backhand and a denial that she ever cared for him at all.
Oof.
After this display, the Vizier finally steps in.
I think the lady doth protest too much.
Yeah.
But look at...
I like her shoes.
But look at Baldur.
Yeah.
Look how...
He's so sad.
She didn't hurt his cheek.
She
obviously.
didn't.
She
No.
hurt his fee-fees.
Yes.
Yeah, he's very sad.
Because she can't hurt his cheek. He's Baldur. He can't be hurt.
She hurt him in his heart.
The only place he can be hurt.
Being older and wiser, and very used to working around big egos and hurt feelings, Seth knows how to stay calm and persuade Carnella without bringing up her personal grievances, which is generally a bad idea to do when you're trying to ask for a favor. Like it or not, the Nornlands are part of the Asgard metro area, and if Carnella refuses to help over petty revenge, not only will her domain surely perish, but she will be forever remembered as a traitorous fool.
Ooh.
Now that's a pretty good argument. And it works, as Carnella does agree to help. Swiftly, they all make the journey back to the Golden City, where the group of 4 rebels immediately move on to the palace without alerting their compatriots. Seems like a bad idea, but I guess Thor is impatient, so here we are. They crouch behind a wall to take stock of the guards on the front door, but before the Thunder God can deal with them, Carnella offers to do it herself as a way to legitimize her commitment to the cause. With one spell, she knocks out the whole group, allowing them to enter the palace unscathed.
Congrats! You're now fighting Asgard guards.
Asgards.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was thinking that, but I was like, that's gonna sound dumb. So I didn't say it. Thank you, though. Soon they come upon the barrier, and it's time for the Norn Queen to do her thing. She hits it with all she's got, but no dice. This force field is too strong. But wait, what if we combine our beams? That almost always works.
More beams. More beams will solve the problem.
It always does. Carnella tries again, this time with Thor at her side, blasting the barrier. and it's just barely enough, creating a small opening for him to jump through.
Wait.
Though as he turns back to his companions, it seems that without Mjolnir's beams, the hole has already closed.
Why don't you guys hit it with beams from each side?
Baldur and Seth pound at the force field to no avail, as it seems that their prince must go to face his father alone.
I didn't get the
impression... And now Baldur's in a box!
Yeah, they're...
I didn't get the impression that this was that kind of force field, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt more like it was
This is a contrivance that they do all the time, and it's usually a lot worse than this, where they have to make it so that Thor has to do the fight alone.
Yeah, but
It'd be really funny if
that's
the
not
force
the
field
part
cut
that's
off his
bugging
cape.
me. The part that's bugging me is it felt more like this was a space of I can't go there, not a bang, 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 I'm hitting a wall.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't really think that Len thought about it that much, to be honest.
Yeah.
Or maybe it wasn't Len, it could be an art thing.
That's true.
So, he does that, as the woeful gaze of the Allfather appears once more. This time it beckons the Odinson forward, guiding him to the throne room, where the king awaits atop his throne, which itself is perched atop the Odin sword.
Which is a very
look.
compensating for something look.
Thor is shocked by this display, asking why would Odin do this? Why did he appoint Igron as his advisor and spurn all others? Why would he neglect and menace his own people? Igron laughs over the Thunder God's naivete, amazed that he hasn't connected the dots yet. Thor begs to know the truth of what has happened to his father, and so the truth is revealed to him in a blinding flash, as Odin's form vanishes to reveal that he was actually... Any guesses?
Oh my god.
Any guesses? Any guesses?
Loki.
Is that your final answer?
I'm going with Loki.
Ripley?
Another dupe.
One of Igron's dupes?
Yeah.
You're both wrong. It's Mangog? What?
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 Huh?
Huh?
What?
I thought Mangog was out of energy.
I thought Mangog specifically required other things to exist, and didn't they fix him?
And ran out of them.
Didn't they fix Mangog?
Mangog has been destroyed like twice now.
Yes.
Okay, you can't... Yeah.
Why? How?
Well, we are going to cover that at some point, but...
Mangog, master of disguise.
Wait, so you're also saying that the threats Mangog Odin have made with vis-a-vis the Odin sword are meaningless?
Why?
Can he draw that?
Yeah, anybody can.
Ah.
The point of the Odin sword is that when it's pulled out of the scabbard, Ragnarok happens. It's not that only Odin can take it out. Anyone can take it out. Only Odin can put it back in.
Oh,
Mangog has tried to take it out.
Mangog has tried to take it out.
I couldn't remember how it worked.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it's been a while since we've dealt with the Odin sword, so that's fair. And also, it's dumb in the first place, so I don't blame you for not remembering.
The rules are weird, and it's been a while.
What would you guys rate this issue?
3 again, I guess. The ending was really dumb, but 3.
It's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
I mean, it's... comparatively, this is the best storyline Len Wein has given us.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Like, it holds together fairly well. The twist is unexpected. I don't like it.
I think in the 3rd issue of this story, there is an explanation, and it's actually pretty good. I think you guys are going to feel good about it.
Okay.
But I will say, to your guys' credit, when I was preparing to read these issues, I also thought this was Loki. Although you guys didn't catch on to the fact that it wasn't Odin, I think.
No.
Until right at the end. But I thought it was Loki from the fucking beginning. And then I clicked on, I went to the appearances listed on CMRO, and I clicked on Odin, because sometimes when you have a character who's impersonating another character, CMRO will actually list them as the character they're impersonating.
Yeah.
But then when you click on it, it'll take you to
their bio.
The character that it actually is. So I clicked on Odin thinking that I was going to be Loki, and it took me to Mangog, and I was like...
What?
Excuse me? What the fuck is happening?
Well, then you read it, and... Then
I read it, and I was like, I see. What do you guys think that's rated on CMRO, by the way?
3.5.
Ugh.
Oh boy.
Someone hasn't drawn Mangog before.
It's 3.3. So Ripley was pretty close. Yeah, this cover is also by Jack Kirby, who should know how to draw Mangog, but apparently doesn't.
Jack, that's not what Mangog looks like.
Our third issue, to wrap up this storyline, is, of course, Thor number 250, from May of 1976. What?
When? When did he do this? Where is
We'll
Odin?
get to it.
Oh, God.
Don't worry about it.
I have so many questions.
So this one was written by Len Wein, penciled by John Buscema, inked by Tony DeZuniga, colored by Glynis Wein, and lettered by John Costanza.
The spectacular 250th issue.
So, how did this all happen anyway?
Yeah, I was just...
I'd love to see a flashback of some kind to explain how the man god came to impersonate Odin. And it seems we're in luck, because Agron has decided that he's going to tell the whole story to Thor before they kill him.
You know...
How convenient.
It's very nice of them to tell us.
I mean, I appreciate the explanation, but I think that the framing of Agron literally telling Thor what happened is kind of dumb. They could have just made it a flashback for the sake of the readers, but...
And it looks like Mangog doesn't want Igron to tell him that.
Well, Mangog kind of just wants to kill Thor and be done with it.
He's right.
Mm-hmm. He's like, no, if you start monologuing, we're fucked.
He would know. He knows how to kill a god.
So, as we all remember, Igron was sent to the dungeons after his failed attempt to take over Asgard via magically created clones of Odin, Thor, the Warriors 3, Hildegard, and Sif.
They were not very good clones.
They were not. They were off-model. This dungeon, by the way, looks absolutely terrible. It's got holes and leaks all over the place.
It's fine.
So Agron was down there for a while, biding his time and plotting revenge, but eventually the Fates saw fit to grant him an opportunity in the form of the Mangog.
A very small Mangog.
Yes, as you may recall, or might not recall, his power diminished while he was fighting Thor, and he shrank to the size of a mouse, though he hadn't fully vanished, as we were led to believe.
Huh.
Somehow he escaped and found his way into the dungeon.
Sure.
Agron recognized him and proposed a partnership of sorts, that they could both achieve their dream of taking down Asgard. Mangog agreed, but there wasn't much he could do at that point. Agron, however, has access to the mystical arts, as taught by Loki himself, and he had just the thing prepared. I guess during the period of time where he was controlling Asgard through his dupes, he created some kind of magical link to the other gods in order to sap their godly strength.
Huh.
So he transferred that link to his new ally, allowing Mangog to siphon strength from the people of the Golden City and restore himself to something closer to his original form.
Okay,
so this is going pretty well so far. What's the next step of the evil plan? Well, Agron happens to know that Odin has been gone for a while because he wiped his brain to live on Earth or whatever. He bends down to the puddle at his feet to see if this is still the case, but damn it, wouldn't you know it, Odin is just now regaining his memories and returning to Asgard. Wait, hang on a second. Something happened. Odin vanished from Earth, but didn't appear on Asgard.
Wait.
Agron has no idea what this means, but he isn't going to let the opportunity pass him by.
Wait, so this is when Odin joined a cult?
No.
No.
This is at the end of that.
Yeah, no, I'm the forgetting. That's when he joined the cult.
Yeah.
And then the Greek gods borrowed him.
Egyptian gods.
The Egyptian gods borrowed him, right.
And then he got his memories back.
Yes.
And Thor was like, you need to go back to Asgard because shit's fucked. And he was like, okay, also you're banished again.
Yeah. And
then he disappeared, presumably to go back to Asgard, but now we're learning he didn't go back to Asgard.
For some reason.
He was still finding himself.
Yeah, he had to go on a soul-searching journey.
Again.
He had to go wipe his memory and join a cult again. Yeah, we don't know why that happened, but Agron is going to take the chance.
And fill the power vacuum.
Exactly. So in a flash, he transforms Mangog with an illusion of the Allfather and sends him out to take command of the city. So that's a decent explanation, I think. I mean, a lot of it is driven by coincidence and the fact that nobody bothered to make sure that the evil wizard couldn't keep doing magic while he was in jail.
Yeah, that shows.
But this is shockingly coherent.
It is. I will say that.
I do have one question, though, and it's why does Manny want to rule Asgard?
I thought he wanted to kill them all.
Yeah, his thing has always been about destroying Asgard from day one. And it seems like he's perfectly primed to do that now, so why would he choose not to?
For the same reason he's allowing Igron to monologue?
I don't know. Anyway, that's how it is. And that's why Asgard is so fucked up right now. Igron and Mangog have basically made it so that nobody can stand up to them, as Igron roots out any hint of unrest, so that Manny can continue to siphon energy from the citizens.
I was wondering why they seemed so downtrodden so suddenly.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
It also makes sense of why they felt so ill when Odin was gone.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed weird that was so sudden.
Oh, yeah. It's all connecting in, like, a very surprisingly coherent way, right?
Yeah. Lynn, do you actually know how to write?
Which is why I'm like, I'm not going to say it's good necessarily, but it's okay, and it makes sense.
Were you just trying to find your place in Thor storytelling?
His place in the world.
Did you just not know what to do with these characters, and this is what you really wanted to do, but you couldn't really get there?
I have no idea. I guess we're good on it. We're gonna have to keep going, and we'll see as we keep going. Yeah. I don't want to prematurely decide that Len knows what he's doing based on these 3 issues.
Yeah, we have some evidence that he doesn't.
Right. So, of course, Thor proclaims that he and his comrades will stand up to them. But how? How can he win over the people when, for all intents and purposes, it's his word against Odin's? In a flash, Igron transforms Mangog once more, just in time for the arrival of the palace guards.
I mean, Revolutionary Balder and Revolutionary Thor might actually be the solution here.
I think they could probably get the job done, honestly.
The man has the Odin sword under his chair. Mm-hmm. That's actually scaring the common folk.
As we've already seen, these guys don't pose any real threat. However, they do serve as a more than adequate distraction, drawing the Thunder God's attention to them long enough for Manny to blast him in the back for an instant KO.
Ooh.
Odin orders his men to take Thor out to the gates, where he will be punished, as an example to any others who may consider rebellion. However, it is a bit late for that, because while this has all been happening, Thor's friends have been going around convincing the people of Asgard to rise up.
You said we wouldn't see Krista again, but there she is.
Oh, fuck, there she is. She is on panel, she does not speak. But she is there. I was wrong. I apologize. For any diehard Krista fans out there, I lied. She's here. Even Carnilla has joined the effort. And though they all have differing methods, their combined efforts have yielded fruit.
I can't believe Revolutionary Balder is happening.
Oh, yeah.
Carnilla's either threatening or scaring people.
Yeah. The revolution is happening. Balder made this happen, even though, Thor is theoretically leading them, even though he didn't make any of the plans himself. But, he's the prince, so they're like, yeah, he's in charge. But Balder's the one who put it all together.
He's the face of the operation, yes, but Balder's actually the heart.
Absolutely, and the Vizier is the brain, and also Jane for some reason. Everybody meets up at the head of a civilian army, the common folk of Asgard marching to take back the home they once had. We don't actually see a lot of, normies in Asgard, but there are a lot of normies in Asgard. It's not just warriors. There are other people, too.
Are they gods?
Yes, they're all gods.
That's a lot of gods.
Well, yeah. Everyone marches toward the palace, but the mob stops short as they all reel in shock at what they see. So Thor has been hung on some kind of machine thing. It kind of seems like it's just holding him there, so it's a bit over-designed, maybe.
Okay.
He's hanging there above the gates, and just out of his reach, another machine thing is holding Mjolnir as if to taunt him. He's not looking great, so Sif rushes forward, calling for Baldur to help her release their prince. But a voice commands her to halt, lest she meet the same fate as the treasonous Odinson, and she turns to see, of course, Odin, with Aegron at his side. The vizier steps forward to speak. He asks if maybe this feels a bit extreme for Odin to do to his own son, but of course we know that this isn't actually Odin, and he's not going to listen. Weakly, however, Thor speaks, desperately trying to communicate the truth. Just before he can finish his sentence, Odin blasts him with another beam to silence him once more. The vizier is stunned, asking why the Allfather would attack so viciously when the Thunder God is already imprisoned. But Manny is trigger-happy and won't take any backsass, so he snaps off a beam at Seth too.
That's a bad idea!
Well, that's just about enough. Baldur begins to charge, the warriors three at his back. But with the wave of power, Odin turns Baldur into a dog.
Oh.
Mangog can do that?
The warriors three are shocked, but not ready to give up just yet. They push onward, and in another blast, they also get turned into animals. A donkey, a pig, and a goat, to be exact. Of course, Volstagg is a pig, obviously.
Yeah.
Because even when Volstagg is allowed to be useful, we are still constantly making fat jokes. Obviously. Next is Sif, who gets turned into a withered crone.
Fun.
But that's one insult too far. After being forced to witness the loss of his father, his friends, and now his love, Thor declares that he can take no more. Despite his exhaustion, he must be free of his shackles, or die in the attempt. Prophetic words, it seems, as his attempt to break the cuffs only pulls down the ceiling on top of him, and he falls silent. Mangog revels in the victory. At long last, the god of thunder is dead, and his victory is assured. Aegron tries to get him to calm down before he blows their cover, but Manny isn't exactly a subtle guy. Was kind of Aegron's plan from the beginning, and now Mangog's feeling pretty confident, declaring that it doesn't matter if everyone in Asgard finds out the truth, because they can't do anything about it. In fact, he says, it's high time to set something straight here. There's not any room for two butts on the throne, and if Aegron thought that he was in charge, he was sorely mistaken. Manny lashes out with a searing power, burning Aegron down to ash. As the echo of his death scream fades, if that's what it says, he dies, straight up. The last of his enchantments also go away, and so the people of Asgard witness the change as Mangog's true form is revealed.
You kind of needed him if you wanted to keep on playing that role.
Yeah. Hildegard calls him out, but what can she do about it? None of these plebs have the power to stand up to Manny, and they know it. So, what is it with people thinking that Thor will die if you drop a building on him?
I don't know, actually. It seems,
yes.
But, I mean, if it was a human villain, I get it. But
my favorite instance was that time that they dropped a whole building on him, and he just was in a little trench underneath it.
Oh god, that was so long ago, but yes, that was really funny. But yeah, I mean, of course we all know that Thor's ultimate weakness is rocks.
Mm-hmm.
The specific situation happens so often that I feel like the dramatic pause is actually just him being annoyed about it. Like, oh, great,
again?
I'm being buried in rubble again, and now this idiot is gonna start bragging about killing me. Yep, there it is. Every time with this shit.
I'm so tired of this bullshit.
Let's get it over with.
This specific bullshit.
Anyway, yeah, Thor's fine, obviously. He rises from beneath the stones, hurling his hammer at Mangog in defiance. While he's no longer what he once was, Manny is still draining power from the people of Asgard, and is able to easily deflect the blow.
The worship of the simple-minded subjects. He's not wearing Odin's face anymore.
Ah, yeah.
And we did read an issue establishing that belief is the most important part of how these guys work.
Yep. So let's keep going. It is somewhat telling, however, the fact that Mangog immediately switches plans from, I'm going to rule Asgard because nobody can stop me, to, alright, well, I'm still gonna destroy it, so fuck you. As Thor catches Mjolnir, the beastly Mangog begins to tear through the palace walls, carving a direct path toward the throne room. Thor leaps onto his back, but gets swatted by the monster's tail, and by the time he rises, Manny is within reach of the massive hilt of the Odin sword. In only a moment, he will finally achieve his ultimate goal, and Asgard will be no more. Not if the God of Thunder has anything to say about it. He's getting a second wind, or fourth or fifth wind. Whatever, he's getting back in there. He takes a few swings, but then Manny grabs him with one of his weird claw tentacle pincer hands, holding him in the air like a doll. Unfortunately for Mangog, this has only brought Thor closer to his face, which the Odinson does not hesitate to give a sturdy whack with his mallet. The monster releases our hero as it falls to the floor, stunned at being felled so easily. Only Odin has managed that before now.
Ooh.
But Thor is the son of Odin, wrought of his own flesh and blood. Manny reaches out once more to tear his way through the Odinson if he has to, but he is held at bay for another moment too long, and just like the last time, he begins to fade away. Realizing that his power is being depleted, he makes one last desperate lunge for the Odin sword, but Thor need not even raise a hand to stop the beast as he vanishes again. For a long several moments, Thor stands there, alone and silent. Then the rest of the Asgardians catch up, with Sif leading the charge. She asks what happened, and Thor theorizes that with the revelation of his identity, Mangog lost the faith of the people and was no longer receiving power from them. So, when he used up all the power he had stored, he once again ceased to exist.
I thought he was being powered by their literal life force, not their worship.
That's kind of what Igron said before.
Yeah, we're still...
It's shaky.
What can I say? Len isn't the most consistent.
But I will say, the thing about him being powered by their life force, that was a thing Igron did, and now Igron's dead.
Yeah.
So all his magic went away.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it. I'm just saying that seems inconsistent.
Well, I mean, maybe it's more like,
Igron was a load-bearing, magic-providing.
Well, no, I think
guy.
more like Igron did tap him into their life force, but without Igron, he was impersonating Odin, so he still received, the faith.
Okay.
And also, maybe the spell was literally powered by his life.
So, it's unclear. I could make some arguments for it, but it doesn't really matter in the end. Yeah, so Mangog disappearing is dumb, but it's at least consistent with the past Mangog encounters, and it does match up with the whole gods exist because people believe in them thing.
Yeah.
If you consider Mangog to be a god of sorts, which I would.
A god that the gods believe in.
Well, no, not really.
They're afraid of him.
Do you remember his origin story?
Yeah, but no, but I mean...
billion dead people.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, they are afraid of him.
Well, yeah.
Like nothing else.
They're very afraid of him.
And in that sense, they do believe in him.
Yeah, he's like their boogeyman.
Exactly.
Yep. And that kind of powers him and makes him real in some ways. But there's still a lot of problems to take care of.
Yeah, where is Odin?
But at least Igron and Mangog are gone, and the issue's over anyway, so everyone celebrates with a cheer. The end.
Yay.
What did you guys think of this one?
3.
Yeah, it was okay.
It was okay, I agree.
And I'll take okay.
Yep.
Okay is nice. We haven't had a lot of okay in a while.
Yeah, it was okay.
We've had worse than okay for a long time.
So, that's all I got.
I really hope this isn't Len spent.
This isn't his fucking peak.
Yes. If this is his peak, I am going to be annoyed. So? Yeah, I'm giving it a 3.
Alright.
Let's do our promos.
Well, while we've got you here, don't forget to hit us up on social media. We are on Tumblr, Jeter, Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky. Theoretically, we are all these places.
And of course, we are here on YouTube, and we like seeing the comments.
We do.
Yes, don't forget to hit the buttons. Like, subscribe, hit the bell button. We like the comments we've been getting down below. That's been fun.
We got a new comment, didn't we?
We got a couple new comments. We got somebody who's from Sterling Heights, somebody who's a local.
Michigan, mention!
Though they don't appear to be familiar with the Golden Butthole.
Maybe you just have to go on the right road.
I don't think they're local anymore.
Yeah.
Is the idea I was getting. We also have somebody who appreciates that Reed Richards is a study in contrast.
Oh, isn't he just?
Please give us comments. We would love to talk to people and open a dialogue, please.
They make us very happy.
They do. Also, join our Discord if you want to talk to us.
If you have something longer to say, go ahead and shoot us an email over at comicsplaining@gmail.com. If you want to shoot us a couple bucks, we're over on Coffee at Comicsplaining. Other than that, let's get on with the show. Alright, now, do either of you want to tell me what happened last time on X-Men?
I sure do, boss.
Alright.
Well, we read an annual, where, Archon returned, basically.
Oh, yeah.
He was in it for the first time since the last time we saw him, but he wasn't,
He was in it for the first time since the last time that we saw him.
Yeah,
look,
exactly.
He's an annual-only character, okay?
Yes. The Fantastic Four were also in it. So the Fantastic Four basically got involved because they responded to some police chatter that there was a gun person, a person with a gun.
That's a weird thing for them to respond to.
Not really.
No?
They're superheroes.
Yeah, I guess they are. It's just weird.
If we lived in a world with superheroes, are you telling me that it would be weird for the superheroes to respond to...
I don't know, it feels weird for the Fantastic Four to do superheroing as a group.
They live right there.
Yeah. So the shooter turned out to actually be a Shi'ar... Pathfinder, that's the word. Who was running from some Badoon, but the Badoon were invisible. So the Fantastic Four didn't know they were there, but they caught up with the Pathfinder, and she was incapacitated, and only had enough time to, ominously warn them before the Badoon basically killed her, and then also knocked out all the Fantastic Four except Sue.
Who got the message and shielded up.
Yep, because she's a badass.
And she's the most competent member of the Fantastic Four.
She's the strongest member of the Fantastic Four, for sure. So Sue went and got her son, and she went to find Xavier, because that's what the Shi'ar lady said to do. And she told the X-Men what happened, and they were like, shit, we gotta go help Archon. So they went to Archon's place, and it was fucked up because they got invaded by Badoon. And I swear to God, I'm not going into every single detail right now.
You're not. You're doing good.
It was fucked up because they got invaded by Badoon, so basically the X-Men and the Fantastic Four helped to fix that.
Yeah, they removed the Badoon from the premises.
They did, yes. And then everything was good, everybody lived. Kurt did have to go to intensive care for a while, but he's alive. The Fantastic Four also are alive. And everybody was... At the end, everybody was having fun and having a party in Archon's place.
There was the whole Archon x Ororo.
Yeah, so Archon and Ororo apparently had a romance that I missed at some point.
Yeah, I did not see that coming.
Yeah, but they decided that they have to...
Remain star-crossed lovers.
Yeah, move on, remain as two ships passing in the night, because... You know, Ororo can't leave the X-Men, and Archon can't bear to leave his people.
No. Ororo can't... Archon can't leave annuals. And Ororo needs someone she can see more often than the occasional annual.
Yeah. So that that's what happened there, basically. And then we read an issue where Corsair returned. Because something happened with Lalandra, I think, was attacked by...
Lalandra was attacked and the Starjammers were framed for it with a trail leading to Earth.
Okay.
Which is a great thing to do, isn't it?
So Corsair came back to Earth, and it just so happened that the only people home were Scott and Aurora because Chuck decided that he's gonna take over Magneto's castle, which is a normal thing to do, I guess.
Sometimes you take over your boyfriend's vacant castle. It's just what you do.
I mean, it's a perfectly good castle. It's out there, so why not?
He's not using it.
Exactly. So they were moving in, which left Scott and Aurora alone at the mansion.
They were very alone.
They were alone, and there were vibes.
There were vibes. Oh, boy, were there vibes.
But then, Corsair's ship crashed into the lake.
And ruined the vibes.
Completely destroyed the vibes. Scott and Aurora rescued him, but in the process of rescuing him, Scott found out about Corsair being his dad.
Oh my god, Corsair. His literal father cock-blocked him.
And then they got attacked by these alien bounty hunter spider things.
Yep.
Which they had to get away from, and they completely destroyed the house in a way that is not fixable.
Yeah,
unfortunately. It's going to have to be completely rebuilt.
Yeah, that house
is fucked.
Yeah, it's
gone.
It's a complete write-off this time.
The house is no more at this point. We gotta clear the land and start anew.
I don't think Mr. Xavier's insurance is going to cover this.
Well, the good news is they have
an
ocean castle.
They do have an ocean castle, but that's not the worst of it, because see, they were dealing with the spider robots, which could become a giant spaceship.
Like a manta ray spaceship.
And they were basically trying to...
Like they Voltron formed up to become a spaceship.
But the thing is, they couldn't figure out what to do with the thing, how to get rid of it.
Yeah, they were having some issues because they were in the Blackbird trying to get away. But the aliens, they combine into a big spaceship, so they weren't able to get away from that. But then they kind of came up with this plan where Aurora made a tornado to trap them, and then I guess Scott hit them with eye punches so hard that they exploded into the smaller spiders a lot.
They did end up on like an oil...
They landed on an oil rig, which seems like bad forethought on Aurora's part. Honestly, I feel like she could have controlled that a little better, but...
I think they were desperate at that point.
Well, yes, but I think that if your plan is to catch them all in a tornado, that she should... She's up in the sky, so she sees the oil rig, and she should know, okay, maybe I don't put the tornado exactly there.
You know what? Speaking about things that we didn't actually mention but did happen in that issue, Scott and Aurora were talking about being who should be leader of the X-Men.
Well, they were, but that was part of the vibes.
No, but this is important, because Aurora doesn't really... Scott doesn't really want the job, but Aurora doesn't want to take it from him. But hey, if she's gonna drop a bunch of alien bounty hunter robots on an oil rig, maybe she shouldn't have the job. You know?
Well,
maybe she's still cooking.
Maybe she's not leadership material.
I think she was just kind of like... She had a lot of shit going on. She had a lot of irons in the fire. Between the three of them, she was the only one who was at all effective against those aliens.
That is true.
I think we could cut her a little bit of slack. She was under a lot of stress.
Helpful.
Although, you know what? So was Scott's dad. But in the worst possible way.
So yeah, after the spider aliens got dropped on the oil rig, Corsair and Scott were arguing about whether or not to kill them. Because Scott's like, oh shit, those are like alive? You can't just kill them. And Corsair's like...
What do you mean they feel pain and are intelligent beings?
And Corsair was like, if we don't kill them, they're gonna keep hunting us. So he blew up the oil rig, which definitely didn't kill any human beings because they for sure got off of it in like the 2 minutes.
And we definitely heard about them getting off.
It was fine. And Scott was very upset about that.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think that's
just about it. Yep.
Yay. We did it, John. High five.
Next up is Uncanny X-Men 155 from December of 1981. Written by Chris Claremont, penciled by Dave Cockrum, inked by Bob Wysek, colored by Glennis Ween, and lettered by Joe Rosen. To say the least, the atmosphere inside the Blackbird is tense.
Scott looks fucking pissed.
The vibes are fucking rancid.
Look at that man's face. He looks like he's trying so hard to hold it in.
Look. He's holding on to the controls. He's flying
the plane. He's fucking white-knuckling.
He's white-knuckling the controls because if he doesn't, he is going to punch his father.
Oh yeah, Corsair was also kind of being a dick.
Yes.
Because he showed up and Scott's like, you motherfucker, you're my dad. And Corsair's like, yeah, so now I'm gonna be judgmental about you and act like I'm your father when I have literally not been here for most of your life.
Yep.
And Scott's, like, not cool with that, understandably.
Yeah, he's not particularly happy with either Corsair or Aurora, and keeps sniping at both of them about why they didn't tell him. Aurora promised Jean, who promised Corsair, who was being a pussy about going back to Earth because I guess he just didn't want to.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, that would make sense why he's blaming her.
He basically just didn't want to.
Fuck ever seeing Alex again, I guess.
Yeah.
But I get why he's... I was like, why is he mad at her? Oh, because she didn't tell him.
I have no question that he doesn't give a shit about seeing his sons, because he chose not to go back in the first place, so I don't think that's going to change.
He didn't look for... Like, he knew his wife was dead.
He did not at any point. Even when he got on a spaceship with a crew, he wasn't like, hey, maybe I should go see if my sons didn't die.
Like, they got out of the plane.
Not even a single moment
did he get out of the plane, didn't they?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm sure they're still dead.
They're fine.
They're dead. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
They don't matter.
Christopher explains that he thought the pair were dead after watching their parachute catch fire. He thought there was nothing left for him back on Earth, so he never bothered to check, but that his only crimes are ignorance and grief.
I don't know. I kind of think that's a willful ignorance. You still could have checked.
He could have checked.
Sorry, Chris, no sale. If anything, Scott's more pissed because after years spent in the orphanage dreaming of seeing his father again, he finds Corsair wanting.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He is mad, but he's also disappointed.
Which is brutal.
The double threat.
Their argument is cut short when the Blackbird is enveloped in a warm glow, shortly appearing on the transporter deck of the Shi'ar Dreadnought.
Huh.
They're not alone. They've also nabbed the rest of the confused X-Men as well.
Okay, that's a flex.
Logan's immediate response, of course, is violence.
Of course.
That's normal.
Drawing his claws and readying to throw down with anyone who wants to have a go at either Chuck or Kitty. Luckily, there seem to be no takers. In fact, Gladiator is downright jovial for him. Though the Shi'ar Admiral really wants Chancellor Arakai to tell him who the fuck these Hicks are.
I'm sorry. This guy's whole look is killing me. Is this a hat or is this his hair?
I think this is his hair.
I think it's his hair too.
Yeah, it looks like his hair.
And I hate it. I mean, the Shi'ar always have weird hair, but this is...
I think it's his hair because I think they're feathers.
Yeah.
I think their hats are supposed to look like their hair.
Well, yeah. It's terrible.
And not all of them can, afford the time and effort that it takes into pluming like that.
A feather comb over.
Yes.
Now, the Shi'ar Admiral should already know who the fuck these Hicks are, but he didn't do his homework. So Arakai tiredly explains. And then Charles demands to talk to Lalandra, but for reasons obvious to us, that's going to be an issue. In the briefing room, the Shi'ar explain the situation to the X-Men. Charles is absolutely outraged, but Logan blows it off. It's not our problem. Wrong.
Of course, he doesn't care.
If it's not our problem, the Shi'ar will make it our problem.
Yep.
Try again.
I mean, you've already been abducted onto their spaceship, so I think it is your problem.
Well, now to be fair, if they really want to make it Logan's problem, he can become their problem.
So what are they going to do about it? Leading plan so far is they're going to use Xavier's psychic bond with Lalandra to find her. Then they're going to send in combat troopers to rescue her. Which Chuck freaks the fuck out at because there's no way that plan doesn't end with Lalandra and a shitload of other people getting killed. As the Imperial Consort, he demands another course of action. The Admiral doesn't particularly give a shit about any of the fucking space hicks, but Xavier's orders do hold a certain weight, so Archive steps in to buy them 1 day to rescue Lalandra.
Prince Consort Charles Xavier.
That is amazing. He is wielding the Prince Consort powers.
He's legitimately a Prince Consort, and it kills me every time.
God.
All this with the caveat that Charles leaves 2 of his students behind on the ship. After a moment's debate between the leaders, though Storm notes that he does defer to Scott first, they decide that Kitty and Kurt will be staying behind. The professor brain blasts Kitty with everything he knows about the Shi'ar, and then Archive starts the time clock ticking as the X-Men teleport back to Earth.
You know, I understand why he decided to do that, because Kitty is a child, and
She might not get an aneurysm?
Kurt was recently gravely wounded.
Yeah.
In a flash, the X-Men reappear on the wreckage of what was, until recently, their home. It's a good thing they were already planning to move to Eldritch Isle, and an even better thing that the garage is intact. The gang all pile into the car to head down to Avengers Mansion because, we're sorry, the Fantastic Four can't come to the phone right now.
As always. This is why nobody beefs with them. You can't reach them to establish beef.
That's true. That's true. You can't have a beef if they never pick up the phone.
They're not the only ones busy, though. The only people even in the mansion are Jarvis and Tigra, the latter of whom is getting on an impatient Wolvie's last nerve.
And she's having fun with it.
I love that for her.
Of course, the moment he goes to make something of it, the handbrake enters stage right. Fact of the matter is, the reason everyone is so on edge is that they've all been sitting around Avengers Mansion while on a deadline because they don't even know where to start. Charles has managed to fix that, though the effort has left him drained and pained. He did exactly what the Shi'ar planned, using his psionic bond with Lalandra to track her down.
Drained and pained and strained and brained and maned.
Unfortunately for him, the move was a predictable one, and her captors ambushed him, leaving the telepath nursing a migraine.
Oof.
While he recovers, he'd like to have a word with Corsair, which I bet he fucking would.
Yeah, I fucking bet he would.
The other father is entering the chat.
But he's going to have to leave a message because both he and Storm, perhaps sensing some hostility from a mysterious source, have left the mansion.
A mysterious source.
The vibes are rancid.
Yeah, I wonder where that's coming from.
Meanwhile, on the Dreadnought, Kitty takes in the stunning view of a space sunrise.
Can someone please get this girl some clothes?
I mean, I don't... Wait.
Oh, good.
Wait.
But that's not all she's been doing. With her newly implanted knowledge on the Shi'ar, Kit Kat's been exploring the ship's systems, including a clothes fabricator that can cook up just about anything, including her sublime Darth Vader cosplay.
Yes, she's actually, violating trademark. Good congratulations.
She intends, of course, to use all of this to get into trouble. Not necessarily. You know who had the license to do the Star Wars adaptation?
Oh, they had the license to adapt Star Wars.
You know who currently has the license for Star Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not gonna get in trouble for that shit.
There was a window where this would have been a problem.
Yeah.
For them to reprint.
Star Wars has gone back and forth, and so has Star Trek, actually.
Uh-huh.
She intends, of course, to use all of this to get into trouble.
Of course she does.
So where have Aurora and Chris gotten off to? The pair walk the streets of New York, just talking as they walk about the city.
God damn it, Aurora.
Christopher doesn't recognize it, both figuratively and literally. It's changed so much since he was last here.
Has it, though?
But at the same time, he can't really come back to this life. Not after all he's seen.
I can buy that. What's it been? Like 20, 25 years? When you come over here to see us, you are constantly putting out shit that used to be different. Okay? I buy it.
Okay, fine.
A lot can change in 20 years.
Aurora notes that Piotr's had much of the same problem. When Corsair tries discussing his losses again, Aurora finally breaks the news about what happened to Jean, and he finally sees that he and his son have that in common.
Ugh.
That's not going to help his son any.
As they speak, unknown to them, a figure cast in shadow draws a bead on Corsair's breastbone, ready to take the shot at the first command.
Okay.
With a fucking laser alien sniper rifle.
Okay, we're actually going to make Scott an orphan. Cool.
The Triggerman isn't so sure they want to pull the trigger, though. It would be a waste when the two would be so useful for the mother of us all, whatever that means.
I have an idea of what that means.
I'm sure it's fine.
It's probably fine.
However, their compatriot cautions that the pair are dangerous and might cause them some mommy issues.
Oh, I know who these people are.
Well, that just pisses the Triggerman right off, taking it as massive disrespect. Which is good, because as she takes wing, she continues to disrespect them. Because if she respects their foes, the Brood should fear them.
We're being introduced to the Brood.
We are. That's quite enough. So finally, they fire the Psy Scream off at Chris and Aurora, engulfing them in their worst nightmares.
I will say this is the first time I've ever known the Brood to use a gun.
You know what? Yeah, I don't remember them being gun users.
The Brood, but with a gun.
The Brood, but with a gun.
Okay, maybe they weren't done cooking the Brood yet. Oh, I can understand that.
Let Chris cook.
With the pair struck near mad, they're helpless when the other half of the attacker swoops low between them, using her avian wings to knock the pair to the pavement. She declares herself the new Empress of the Shi'ar, Deathbird. I think Arakai might have some things to say about that. Or rather, Deathbird.
Yeah. We're going to remember her as that.
Because Scott then blasts her right out of the sky as the rest of the X-Men plus Tigra are here to help.
I'm going to remember her for her really stupid outfit. It's really terrible.
It's very furry.
Feathery.
It leaves the Shi'ar partially dazed and falling, and Tigress there to take advantage, pattering obviously about how cats eat birds.
Wait.
Yeah, but I love that for her.
She finds this one a bit harder to digest, however, and quickly Deathbird manages to shake the Avenger off at height. Luckily for Tigress, she's an accomplished gymnast and manages to alley-oop her way down.
Holy crap, wow.
DB doesn't particularly like losing, though, so she pulls out a pair of energy javelins.
DB Cooper?
Yes. DB Cooper doesn't particularly like losing, though, so she pulls out a pair of energy javelins and fires off a blast at the group on the ground. A blast Colossus intercepts, jumping in front of it. At least Charles managed to pinpoint where these attacks were coming from, so the X-Men turn their attention to the construction site, where they also still have to keep their eye on the birdie and deal with Corsair and Storm before they kill one another. No big deal, right?
Cool.
Cyclops blasts Deathbird a second time, driving her back into the construction site, so at least they've condensed 2 goals here. So Cyke sends Wolvian to hunt her down, inviting Tigra along since she was so keen on getting into trouble earlier.
Yeah, why not? Hey, if she wants in, let her.
Meanwhile, down on the pavement, Aurora and Chris Summers brawl, each convinced they're fighting something foul.
God, I love what Aurora is wearing. It's so hot.
Where the fuck did she get that from, anyway?
I don't know, but it's so good.
Wait.
Like, the mansion was torn the fuck to the ground. Where the fuck did she get this from?
I was about to say her closet.
They're staying at Avengers Mansion right now, so she's had time to
She borrowed it from someone.
Yeah.
Someone who is fashionable.
Someone who has really good taste.
Oh, she struck herself with lightning again and changed her clothes.
Right.
Ugh, God, I hate that she can do that.
I know.
Scott and Piotr try to intervene, but that only turns the fightiness of the combatants back onto them. Corsair now convinced that instead of his son, he sees D'Ken. Scott just got a serious promotion from sort of not really leader of the X-Men to Emperor of the Shi'ar. But needless to say, it's not an upgrade in Corsair's eyes, and he's now trying to murder him.
Of course.
He tackles Scott to the ground, strangling his son. Luckily, his other dad's got his back, and he manages to undo the side scream on Corsair and Storm.
Scott's two dads
that
are not gay and don't like each other.
Hey, Scott, why do you get two dads?
He's very unlucky.
Corsair feels devastated when he comes to his senses, even as Scott reassures him that it's all good. But as soon as he hears that this is all because of Deathbird, he's got a one-track mind. Deathbird's the one behind all of this, so Lilandra must be nearby. I mean, maybe.
Maybe.
It's weird that she's in New York.
Of course she's in New York.
They're in New York, and she came to them.
It's Marvel, of course she's in fucking New York.
Yeah. Could be anywhere in the galaxy. No.
He and Storm then also head off into the building. Sykes' plan be damned.
And he has his laser flintlocks out.
God.
The dumbest fucking design.
Leroy
God.
Jenkins!
You know that guy got the guild killed doing that.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I just feel
But
like
at least he had chicken.
But at least he had chicken.
Became a meme. Became a legend.
Speaking of the actual plan, Logan's in there checking things out when he comes on Skirkill, Warrior Prime of the Brood, lighting up another shot at Charles Xavier. Keen to see what happens when you fire off this baby at a telepath. That doesn't go so hot for Skirkill, though.
Skirkill. I wasn't aware that any of the Brood had names.
He gets sliced and diced pretty quickly.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't think...
Mincemeat.
Look, if you're willing to fire rounds at a range to kill, or worse, I don't think Logan is gonna be nice.
From somewhere in the maze of girders and beams, another attacker ambushes Storm, ensnaring her in a tangle web. She's not having a great time of it this issue.
No.
She's still got her powers, so she doesn't fall, but she's cocooned tightly in midair. Something I'm sure she loves.
Yeah.
And then another gunman fires a shot from the grassy knoll.
But there was a third gunman!
Why are there so many gunmen?
This one again aimed at Xavier. And again, Colossus intercepts. But this time the effects are less benign. His clothes burn away and his metal skin begins to sizzle as the acid contained within the shell begins to do its work, eating away at the Rusky.
I like how each of the snipers has a different kind of gun.
Right? Maybe they just have different shells they can change to or something. They've got to get him help quickly. Syke calls for Tigra to maneuver the bound Aurora towards Logan, who slices her bonds right open. Perfect timing for Storm to catch the feline Avenger before she goes splat.
Wow.
Allowing the ladies to touch safely back down to Earth. Safety isn't what's on Piotr Rasputin's mind.
Oof.
Ooh.
While Xavier may have psychically dulled the pain, it's hard to ignore his potentially imminent end. That's when the team leader comes to the rescue, vaporizing the acid with a lightning bolt, which is apparently how one would deal with that situation.
Yeah. Well, you know, Tony got rid of acid by flying really fast, so... I guess we just, And
then washing his chest clean with a blast of water. When all is said and done, Piotr looks rough, but is alive.
Yeah, he's alive, but
Yeah, but that's a first for anything affecting Colossus like that.
Someone's got something that actually hurts metal Colossus. They don't have to turn him into flesh Colossus to...
fuck him up.
Yeah, that's actually kind of scary.
But Scott throws him on the bench, despite the fact that he's not the guy in charge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sure,
Scott.
Sure, you're not in charge.
You got it, buddy.
What the group find when they enter the construction site is Wolverine throwing down with some fuck-ugly bug alien. He finally gets the better of it and the thing dissolves, something that Logan has achieved more than once by now. He explains that they're called the Brood, and they're probably hanging out in the basement of the building. Speaking of which, your pops is headed that way. Thought you should know, psych.
Yeah, you might want to go take care of that before
he
gets assimilated.
Would you like to be an orphan?
So that seems like the
for real.
So that seems like the perfect time to go meet up with him. It's good timing on Corsair's end, too. The Brood have a defensive position he can't breach on his own. He needs the backup the X-Men and their purloined blasters have. Everything's going well until suddenly Deathbird emerges from the hatchway, her talons at Xavier's throat, which is confusing to the X-Men.
That's confusing to me.
Because Colossus was supposed to be guarding him.
Yeah.
She demands they stand down, and with no other options, the X-Men obey. It's a move that allows DB to make her escape, blasting the group back with one of her energy javelins, and then moments later the spaceship behind her roars to life, shuddering away through the building built up around it with a briefcase full of cash.
Wait, that was in a building?
Yes.
Yeah, it was in a building that was being constructed.
Yeah, they were building it up around the spaceship.
Huh.
While the X-Men somehow survive the launch, the construction topples down around them, trapping them within the debris. For a moment it seems as if they're trapped, but there's no need to worry with Mr. Optic Blast on the scene. He's got this covered.
Oh.
Almost as soon as they're out, they're scrambling around looking for Colossus, and it doesn't take long before they find him, one of Deathbird's harpoons stuck through his chest. A desperate Psyche calls for an ambulance, while Wolvie tries to let him know it's already too late. And then the situation gets worse, because New York's finest have arrived on the scene, guns drawn, because this building collapse seems like an arrest situation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Woof.
How would y'all rate that?
Oh man, I'm just thinking about how this would have hit back then.
4, I guess. Honestly, I feel like I need to marinate on that for a bit, but for now, 4. Like, it's fine, I'm just not sure.
I just think I know too much about Colossus at this point. That's a
me
problem.
Your problem is that you can't stop thinking about shit that we have not covered yet.
I know just a little too much about what will happen one day.
But we're already 2 hours into this recording, so...
I didn't know much about the Brood. I still don't know much about the Brood. I think we're about to learn about the Brood.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll go to 4.
I'm gonna give it a 3.75. What do you think CMRO thought?
2.
4.
6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Ripley.
3.72.
Okay.
Up next is Uncanny X-Men 156 from January of 1982. Written by Chris Claremont, pencils by Dave Cockrum, inked by Bob Wysek, colored by Don Warfield, lettered by Janice Chang, with a cover by Dave Cockrum and Bob Wysek.
Oh, that's Chode. Okay, I was really confused for a second about why the swamp thing was on this cover, but then I remembered that's Chode.
No, it's Chod. Fuck
Chode.
you.
It's
Chod.
Chode.
I hate you so much. Where the fuck is E from? There's no E. This is bullshit, and I hate both of you.
I'm going to have to double down on...
Dude, we didn't make Chode.
I hate you so much.
We didn't make that happen, okay?
But it is your fault for making me endure it.
True.
Actually, it's Chris Claremont's fault.
No, it's not.
It's the people who did the X-Men cartoon. It's their fault.
True.
They were the ones who decided to pronounce it as Chode.
True. It is, but the fact that you have to endure it now is Chris Claremont.
No, that's us.
No, that's you.
That's us.
No.
We don't have to say it, though.
Yes, we do.
No, you don't.
It's required.
The X-Men stand gathered around their fallen friend, unsure of what to do for him other than avenge him.
Logan pulled the harpoon out of his chest, which seems like a bad place to start.
After a moment, though, they do realize they have a faint pulse.
Wow, he's not dead.
Wow.
Logan still thinks there's not really anything to be done for him, though. Meanwhile, the cops are closing in, looking to hold the group accountable for the building collapse. That's when it's Tigra to the rescue. She steps in with her Avengers identicard to talk the cops down. This is Avengers business. They're dealing with a supervillain. The cops aren't really biting, but she's giving it her all, damn it.
She's gonna bite back.
Mm-hmm.
As you can no doubt tell by the art, the hour is late in the FAA Regional Air Traffic Control Center.
What the?
After an eventful night the evening before, they're glad that things are finally seeming to get back to normal.
Ah.
That's when an even bigger blob than before shows up on their screens, taking up the whole radar.
What the hell?
I love Independence Day.
Desperately, the men clear the airspace as down below, the citizens of New York City gape at the giant shape blotting out the night sky.
Sorry, I'm really entertained by this air traffic control guy being like, phew, finally we took care of that. And then he sees the huge blob and he literally puts his head down and starts smacking the desk in pain.
Throws a fucking temper tantrum.
It's really funny.
Confession time. Last time I said Corsair crashed the Starjammer into the lake, but I was wrong. I don't know what the fuck he was flying.
Yeah, something else.
This is the Starjammer. And she's here to beam Corsair and the X-Men aboard, leaving Tigra behind to deal with the cops.
Wait.
I hate the shape of that spaceship.
It's that big?
It's that big.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's really big.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that big.
But, yes, I hate the shape of it. It's stupid looking.
It is. But I did not think it was...
It looks like... You know what it looks like? It looks like a goose.
I did not think it was blot out the
sky.
Sky, Independence Day style, big.
She big.
She thick.
She juicy.
She honk.
It's the Starjammers, considerably less doomed than Corsair apparently thought them to be.
Aw.
Here to pluck his fat out of the fire. And they're delighted to see him, with Ch'ad picking him up high overhead in delight. Not that the X-Men aren't glad and all that the Starjammers are happy, but they've got a dying teammate, so Scott quickly reminds them of Colossus, and they spirit Piotr away into a life support module, with the Starjammers' medic Sikorsky now tending to the young Russian. I wonder if that was his name before, or if Chris deemed him Sikorsky, because he reminded him of a helicopter.
God. I mean, it would be very weird if that wasn't a nickname that Chris gave
It
him.
would be a hell of a coincidence.
Yeah.
Knowing what we know about Chris.
Right? Yeah. Meanwhile, back on the Shi'ar Dreadnought, Admiral Samadar has decided to interrupt the fashion show to give our heroes a quick catch-up on what's been going up with the rest of the X-Men. They're pretty horrified, and then relieved, and then horrified all over again at Piotr's fate, leaving Kitty on the verge of tears. She swears to Samadar's amusement. She might be closer to the truth than she knows, because it is revealed that all along, Admiral Sammy has been in league with Deathbird.
Oh, fun!
He's been plotting against them all along, and even now plans to destroy Earth.
That's not surprising or shocking at all.
Though the X-Men and Starjammers have escaped his clutches for now.
For now.
Elsewhere in the solar system, Deathbird's ship is gunning for escape. She's still too close to the sun to jump, so for now she just runs. Her VICs, very important captives, still unconscious in the back. Slowly, Charles begins to fade back to awareness, through the filter of a nightmarish haze, barely recognizing Lilandra before him for a few moments before the pair passionately embrace, though truth be told those nightmares still have him on edge. They share a tender moment, considering if there's anything that they'd be willing to trade their love for, before coming to the conclusion that there is not. Their moment is rudely interrupted by Deathbird, offering them a lifetime of such moments if little sis will just abdicate the throne. But Lilandra will not, and indeed wants to fight about it.
She fucking pounces.
Unfortunately, between the pair of them, Deathbird is the better fighter and very quickly kicks Lil's ass, leaving a very frustrated Empress to explain to her boo that Deathbird, at some point in the past, lost her name and rank due to some unnamed crime, but also unrelated. So long as Lil lives, DB can't be in charge. Simple enough.
Sure. I do like Lilandra's new outfit. It is a lot more complex than it used to be, but it's cool.
Yeah, it's neat. Back on the bridge of the Starjammer, Scott and Christopher watch the stars as the ship screams through space. She's faster than Deathbird's ship. They're making good time. And beyond even that, news is sounding good on Colossus. He might just make a recovery yet. For these two, that just leaves the awkwardness. Corsair gives his condolences for Jean's passing, trying to reassure his son that eventually time heals all wounds. Including his, he's special.
Yeah, nothing will heal my wounds. That's why I didn't go back to look for my sons. 'Cause I'm sad forever.
But Scott wants to know what happened to split them up. Once upon a time, a prospective astronaut and his family flew a restored de Havilland Mosquito home from Alaska. That's when they started picking up weird transmissions about a UFO. Soon those tales were confirmed fact, as the airman did his best to dodge the bird and his family out of the way of blaster fire. But it's a spaceship versus a World War II era plane. You tell me how that match ends.
Yeah, not well.
The thing about the Mosquito that really hindered it all the way through its development for widespread adoption, despite some decent results in specialized uses, is that it has a wooden frame.
Yeah, it is kind of dated by World War II.
It took one near miss of that blaster fire to set the thing ablaze. Without much time, Catherine Ann Summers scrambled to get Scott into a chute, shoving his little brother into his arms and the pair out of the hatch. When the chute went up in flames, so did all their hopes. That's when Chris and Kat were teleported aboard the Shi'ar ship, new specimens for Emperor Daken's zoo.
Ugh.
Somehow Chris managed to bust loose, only to find Daken had taken a liking to his lady. Determined to defend Catherine, he armed himself against the Emperor, only for his rebellion to be repaid with his wife's death. While Summers himself was sentenced to toil in the star pits for the rest of his days. Enter the Starjammers. Chris isn't sure he likes the man that he's become, but he's not ashamed of him either. And Scott, hearing his dad's story, can find some room in his heart for forgiveness, embracing his father.
Huh.
Ah.
The tender moment can't last. Hepzibah interrupts with the news that they've just about intercepted Deathbird. It's time to go get themselves that birdie.
And they have the much larger ship.
And so the Starjammer drops speed behind her, ready to fucking go. But as she drops in speed, suddenly her sensors begin to scream out a Qui-Gon. Whoop whoop! There's always a bigger fish.
Oh, God.
God damn.
Quite literally, a giant space whale om-nom-noms both ships.
What?
Extruding fleshy docking tendrils to each. So it's the least fun kind of party. A boarding party!
Oh, God.
At least if you're the boardees.
I kind of like this thing.
Isn't it cool looking?
It looks like it has cities on it.
Yes! It's a lot. I mean, they're doing something here, okay? That's all I'm saying.
They're cooking. They're actually cooking.
Maybe it's less fun if you're the boarders this time.
Oh.
A shit pile of Brood shock troops pile up outside the airlock, ready to get their boarding party on, when Colossus unlocks the door. Rumors of his death have been greatly exaggerated. He smashes several of them flat, and is followed through quickly by Raza and Wolvie, having themselves a little boarding party of their own.
Well, who says it can't be their boarding party?
Rager.
Next up come Cha'ad, Hepzibah, and Storm, the latter of which is pulling her punches, refusing to kill the Brood.
I'm sorry, Hepzibah put on a cat head-shaped helmet?
Yeah, she did.
It's a choice.
It sure is.
Now, if they were Emma Frost, on the other hand, she might not refuse to kill them.
Ooh.
Still, Aurora has another way, summoning up an icy wind to scour the corridors of the giant ship, causing the giant beast to buck and writhe in pain, even as the Brood are swept away for the moment.
Oh, man, that's so fucking cool. A spaceship that's also, like, a creature. It's so cool.
The ship can't take this for much longer. The battle must be contained. And so the Brood kill the gravity in the docking bay, still determined to take the X-Men alive as they would make excellent hosts.
Excellent hosts? Because they're the X-Men?
No. We remember the X is short for extra power.
Extra power excellent men.
There we go.
That's why I call you the X-Men expert, because it is a joke. But you were a butthead about it.
It massively fucks with the hero's ability to fight, but they're not out of it yet. Raza has some anti-gravity slip soles that'll let you hold onto the ground anyway, and so he hooks them onto Petey Boy's Feety Boys. So he's still swinging, and it was never a problem for Storm, so she's just fine, so mostly just fuck Logan, I guess.
I don't know, anything that gets near Logan is going to get stabbed.
True. I mean, we've established that Logan in anti-gravity is a weapon.
Yeah. Look, you throw Logan. He's not any less dangerous here.
He's a valid improvised weapon.
Yes.
I would also like to state, I know we've seen Raza before, but he is looking a little bit sketch.
Yeah.
I know he's an alien, but
I don't know what's going on with him.
There are several elements of his design that are kind of leaning in a certain direction.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But aren't we forgetting a few people?
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, Corsair and Cyclops have a mission of their own. Charles and Lilandra wait in their cell, unable to do much more than that with the power dampeners in place. They won't be waiting long to learn their fates. Half a dozen Brood have come to their door, guns drawn. The rescuers won't find anything to rescue. That's what they think, because the cavalry has arrived. Psyche and Corsair blasting the lot from behind. Celebrations might be a bit premature, though. More Brood are incoming behind them, and Charles launches himself out of the cell's anti-gravity so he can use his powers to come to his students' rescue, psy-blasting one of the attackers back.
I mean, it kind of looks like he punches it.
It does look like that.
You're right, but he also psy-blasts another one. I got a little ahead of myself
That's
here.
okay.
Fair enough.
Scott actually chews the professor out for this, reminding Charles that while he might know how to train someone to do this shit, he's never actually done it himself.
God.
Something which, to his credit, Chucko takes in stride, agreeing.
Whoa. Personal growth moment. Okay.
With the rescue done, it's time to get the hell out of here, so they book. Quickly meeting up with the docking bay crew, sans Storm. She's throwing down with Deathbird.
Well, what can I say? It is a boarding party.
DB is trying the whole "you and I shouldn't be enemies, the Empire killed your girlfriend" thing.
God.
To no avail because, duh, you just tried to murder all of her friends and get her world destroyed. You don't have the moral high ground here, babe.
Yeah, no, you've got no leg to stand on.
And you probably never did, realistically.
Aurora dodges another of Birdie's harpoons, somehow shocked to see the wall bleeding. Like, girl, did you not pick up on how fleshy everything was before this?
Yeah.
No, I don't think she realized this is meat.
This was a revelation to her somehow. The distraction is enough for DB to nail her with a kick straight out of the ship and into space. They, open a portal.
Oh!
They open a butthole.
Yeah, no.
In the side of the fish.
Yeah, no, this is,
That's a sphincter right there.
That is a sphincter.
It's a shrieked.
The X-Men, now safely aboard the Starjammer, register this and kick into high gear, figuring she's got about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And so the countdown begins.
Ooh, a fun countdown. Hell yeah.
Oh, shit.
The Starjammer roars its way to life, blasting free of its docking
Oh!
tentacle, and then free of the mouth altogether.
It also made a hole.
Yeah, it blasts its way free of that mouth.
Oof.
She finally locks her teleports on Storm and beams the young mutant aboard just as her 30 seconds are about to run out.
But then 30 seconds was a rough estimate.
Yeah. Also, they did that thing that we like it when Thor does, where they have a visual countdown.
Mm-hmm.
We love the countdown.
You know what? I'm not going to say that Storm should be able to survive indefinitely in space, but I do think that she should have some level of atmospheric control. That might help. Or am I bullshitting?
What
I
atmosphere?
feel like you're bullshitting.
Okay.
She doesn't have any atmosphere to work with.
I guess.
Sometime later, Aurora sits up from the Starjammer's medbay,
Whew.
looking none the worse for the wear. They've all made it out intact, though the same may not be able to be said for the Brood ship, a once sentient being with its intelligence destroyed by the Brood.
Oof.
Yeah.
They fucked that thing up pretty good. The Jammer herself is looking pretty good. In about a day, she should be repaired and then back to Earth. But as you may recall, that's going to be a problem, as Space Techie is about T-minus 6 hours to getting its shit kicked in.
God damn it.
How'd y'all like that?
Pretty good.
4. It was very fun and enjoyable.
Yeah, solid 4.
I agree. I'm at a 4-2. How do you think CMRO liked it?
4.
4?
3.53.
Woo.
They didn't like that as much as the last one.
What?
I don't think. Let me double check that.
No, you're right. The last one was like a
3.72.
Yeah.
Boy.
But,
Huh.
okay.
The majesty of the space whale thing. Not really doing it for these people.
I guess. Oh, shit.
Wait.
Oh, shit.
Oh. Fuck. What?
Oh, we forgot to mention that Ripley got their birthday present.
It did.
Which is, one of those very special comic book cover Funko Pops.
It's neat.
I didn't know those were a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
They're
the
very cool.
first appearance of Phoenix
Mhm.
Funko Pop. It's neat. I really like it. Thank you.
You're welcome. I honestly, I think those cover pops are really cool. Because, like...
You would not believe the number of those cover pops that are Wolverine. I wouldn't have looked them up because I was curious about them.
They're not...
There's like 6 of them.
That makes them less cool.
I like the one that we saw at the store that's Wolverine's first appearance.
Yeah, that one was pretty
Okay,
good.
that
Which
sounds
is
neat.
absolutely stupid as hell fucking costume.
That intro costume, God.
Anyway, go on.
What? This cover. What?
I love this cover.
Next up is Uncanny X-Men 157 from February of 1982. Written by Chris Claremont, penciled by Dave Cockrum, inked by Bob Wysek, colored by Janice Chang, with a cover by Dave Cockrum and Bob Wysek.
You know what I like about this cover? She's stretched out, right? And they actually put in effort to make it look like her torso is stretching up. Because, like, when you reach your arms up...
Oh, okay, yeah, I
your
see what you mean.
muscles stretch up.
Yeah, I'd say what you mean, yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck did you think I was saying? That they stretched her out like Mr. Fantastic?
I had no idea.
No,
what
I'm
the fuck
talking
you were
about.
saying.
I'm talking about like. I mean, I'm saying artist shit, and I'm the only artist at the table.
That's fair. That's why we're like. What?
I'm talking about the anatomy and the way that it changes when you move certain ways. That's all.
Okay.
The X-Men and Starjammers are both moving as fast as they can to help the ship's robots with repairs. Earth's very fate may hang in the balance, but there's nothing that can be done about it. The repairs are necessary, and they're moving as fast as they can. Working together, the teams peel back damaged deck plating, recycling the materials for later use.
I like Wolverine's out there cutting the panels off.
Despite all that...
I mean, he's a pretty convenient cutting tool.
Yeah.
Despite all that, it's difficult for Piotr Rasputin not to get caught up in the beauty of the stars.
Yeah.
Though Logan does his best to keep him on task.
Well, what can I say? He's a poet.
He is.
That's in fact something I believe Wolverine says that here.
I think we're both referencing the same line. Oh God, one of the astronauts who went to the moon said they should have sent a poet.
I like how Hepzibah's spacesuit has a
tail.
pocket for her tail that is equally as fluffy as her tail. Like, you know...
It didn't have to be.
Like, you know most of that is hair, right? You could... If you have to have a compartment for her tail, you could
can
squish
compress
it.
that
Yeah, but that wouldn't be comfortable.
for maximum comfort.
Yes.
For maximum furry gaze. Would it be as appealing? No. Certainly not for Chris.
Look, Chris Claremont has to indulge certain
Chris
interests.
Summers.
Both of them, I think.
Yes.
Perhaps.
Well, look at it this way. Chris Claremont lets Chris Summers live out certain
fantasies. Such as fucking a cat girl.
Despite all that, it's only a small moment to admire the stars before Piotr is back to work, mind dwelling on a dull ache in his still recovering chest.
Oof.
I'm sure Doctor's orders were definitely to go fight a bunch of bugs and then rip apart a spaceship, Pete.
Yeah,
he's definitely supposed to go to war after nearly dying, well, from impalement. And acid.
Yeah.
They're peeling back one more plate of starship armor when suddenly something explodes, sending several of them flying. Wolverine in particular got sent flying ass over tea kettle because his suit's backpack thrusters are stuck on.
Ooh.
Oh.
It's up to the cat furry to the rescue. Hepzibah launches herself off to rescue him, but while everyone is worried about Logan's dramatic fate, no one notices Piotr weakly collapsing against the deck behind them.
Uh-oh.
Instead, Hepzibah reaches Wolvie, using her momentum to flip him back towards Raza. To which Logan points out that now Hepzibah is stuck out in space, but Scott just bounces an optic blast off some space debris to knock her back towards the ship, safe and sound.
Okay, show off.
I like how they made it so that his space helmet can let his eye punches through? Question mark?
I mean, they made it so Wolverine's spacesuit lets him cut things.
I mean, they would be able to get the spaceship repaired a lot faster if they didn't spend all this time modifying the spacesuit. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? You make a valid point.
That's when finally someone notices Piotr's state, and they quickly rush him back off towards the med bay once more. Shockingly, the doctor's orders were not to tear the fucking Brood apart and the ship as well. He's torn his injuries back open and is bleeding internally.
Ooh.
Sikorsky's gonna have to go back in and do surgery. He drafts Aurora in as his surgical assistant for some reason, and kicks everyone else out of the room. Some of them more voluntarily than others. Logan has to be removed from the room. He's pitching a fit in the hall, just shy of gnawing at the door to get back in, when the ship's computer Waldo calls in a request for them on the bridge. It's Lalandra. See, while all these big brains have been so focused on getting them back home, Lalandra figured she'd just call to get them to call off the destruction.
Oh, yeah. If she calls in and they know it's her, they have to stop.
In theory.
And things were going according to plan. She got in touch with Chancellor Arakai to let him know she was okay, but then all of a sudden he stopped answering.
Oh.
It's something that's left the Empress uneasy.
There is an imposter among us.
What she doesn't know is that her voice rings out in vain. Araki lays dead, slain by Admiral Samidar, who fully intends to hold to the plan of destroying Space Tucky.
Bastard.
Mm-hmm.
What's worse, all Imperial frequencies are now being jammed. No one is listening, and they can't move. Still, there might yet be a way to get the message across. They do have Earth's greatest telepath on hand, after all.
Uh-oh.
And so Chuck gets to work, reaching across the solar system to his students. But he notices something strange about himself, and it throws off his rhythm. So disastrous is this that the message is cut short. Charles screams and then goes catatonic.
Oh, no.
I don't like the look of that.
Back on the clan ship, the Brood are not happy with Deathbird, and they're currently trying to kill her about it in revenge.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's something.
That tracks.
She's already wiped out a shitload of Brood, though, and it's enough to make the clan master at least consider a truce with the renegade Shi'ar.
Okay.
For the moment at least, the fight is off, and Deathbird has her chance to plead her case. And plead her case she has to, because Kamnihar is furious. Deathbird promised them victory, and all they've done is lose. Sounds like a skill issue.
Yeah.
Their ship has been mega fucked up, a bunch of Brood got flattened, they lost breeders, but that's where DB's got a case to make. pulling out a computer module with some readings she took on Xavier's students. And the moment Cammy sees them, he's all, gimme, 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 I have to have.
Oh.
This at least buys Deathbird her life for a little while longer, provided she can proclaim these X-Men for the Brood.
Mm-hmm.
Well.
Because I am quite familiar with the Brood.
You're familiar? I didn't know how familiar with the Brood you were.
I'm rather familiar with the Brood.
Back aboard the Shi'ar Dreadnought, Kurt and Kitty are restless.
What the fuck is Kitty wearing?
I don't know.
Something that she made, and it's awful.
Yeah, she has...
I mean, that track, she has terrible fashion sense.
She does!
And she had a clothes beam, and it was a mistake. She had a clothes beam and all the knowledge in the universe to know how to use it.
You know what? I can kind of appreciate that as a character trait, because you would think a teenage girl, the stereotypical thing would be like, oh, she loves fashion and she's in on all the latest trends and she knows exactly what she's doing. But it's actually a lot more interesting that she sucks at it. Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
The deadline draws ever nearer, and on top of that, the professor's message getting cut off midway through seems ominous, though they're not sure why. And even more, now they can't get in touch with Chancellor Arakai. Everything seems to be conspiring against them.
Almost as if there is a conspiracy afoot.
What? There's a conspiracy? No way!
The good news is, since Kitty likes playing dress-up so much, Kurt rigged up a portable costumer, too. It should help with their plan. The plan better be coming soon, because with a whoop of the ship's alarm, she's at battle stations.
Ooh.
Kurt also likes wearing costumes.
He does.
This is quite a pair.
With no time to waste, Kitty programs up a skin suit for herself and takes a deep breath of air, phasing through the exterior wall of the ship out onto the hull.
Oof.
The suit the costumer cooked up can protect her from radiation and environmental concerns, but there's no extra air, so she's just got the one breath.
Oh!
Oof.
Luckily, there's an airlock nearby, and within a few steps, with her chest aching, Pride phases back through the airlock. She's reemerged just outside of their cell, and is shocked to find a trio of Shi'ar troopers readying to slay both she and Kurt.
Wait, hang on. Why couldn't she go through the door? Or she could, but she was trying to avoid people?
They're locked in.
They're locked in, yes, but how does that affect...
I think the interior walls are blocked from her phasing somehow.
Huh.
Interesting.
A trio of Shi'ar troopers readying to slay both she and Kurt.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be mean.
Just as they activate the door, Kitty charges, phasing through the men and deactivating their armor. The key moment Kit Kat needs to clue Kurt on what's going on. And then in a poof of brimstone, the fuzzy elf bamps from place to place, laying the man flat. At least it's all in the open, though. They've got their plan. All they can do is put it into motion and see what happens.
Is this gonna be the thing that makes Kitty get closer to Kurt and stop being afraid of him?
I don't know. Their first move was going to be just to tell Arakai about Xavier's message, but when they find him with a still smoking hole in his chest...
Yeah, I don't think there's any telling him.
It's just as clear that it won't work as it is who is responsible. Admiral Samedar. But there's still one group they can turn to. The Imperial Guard should be loyal to Lalandra. If they can just convince the telepath Oracle to read the message in their minds, they should be able to stop the destruction of the planet. Meanwhile, up on the bridge, Admiral Samedar orders the crew to target the planet's major population centers. The ship's captain protests that these weren't their orders. They were supposed to free the Empress, not destroy the planet. Doesn't matter, we're destroying the planet now.
Ugh.
Suddenly, the bridge fills with plumes of smoke as she appears. The Dark Phoenix!
Oh!
She heard you were gonna fuck up her planet, Samedar. So like her namesake, she rose from the ashes to fuck up your shit.
Yeah!
God.
I love this.
This is amazing.
Kitty and Kurt are the best team up. This is fantastic.
They got the showiest people they had, and they're putting on the perfect show.
In another plume of smoke, she disappears, phasing through the floor with a giggle.
With a giggle.
Oh, God.
The entire bridge crew are extremely shaken by the encounter.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's probably a collective PTSD trigger for these people.
Yeah. The Gladiator does his best to take charge of the situation. He orders Oracle to do a side scan of the ship, searching for the Phoenix, but when he turns to her, he finds his fellow guardsmen gone. Oracle's no less discombobulated by the whole situation, still disoriented by Kurt's teleport. Her first introduction to this scheme is Dork Phoenix herself.
Oh my god.
Oh my god! That expression, holy shit!
Gliding through the wall with a delighted grin.
Oh, this poor woman's gonna have nightmares.
In a panic, the guardsman gets to her feet and attempts to flee, only to be tackled round the middle by this teenager. Yeah, I wouldn't be bragging about this one to the other guardsmen.
Yeah. A teenager in a cosplay.
You know, the one thing, I don't think anyone would ever believe her if she did.
It's only after this ruse is revealed that Oracle starts to calm down a bit. Though at that point, she doesn't see why she should believe Kitty at all. But eventually she does give it a go, reaching into the minds of the X-Men to receive the Professor's message. She quickly summons more members of the Guard, Gladiator, Starbolt, and this other big and in need of a name. They're not sure they believe this story. It seems like a stretch, but Oracle points out that they could just put off Earth's destruction long enough to test this story, and they'd have their answer.
Kitty has changed into a Robin Hood cosplay?
Yeah, I'm not sure
God,
why.
she has. Why is she going?
Maybe just to stop scaring everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I see why she changed. I just don't understand why this.
No.
Kurt?
Why Robin Hood?
Wait, could it be Kurt and his love of
God, we're having fun now.
Yeah, they're doing costume things.
Yeah.
Still.
I'm surprised Kurt hasn't put on any costumes.
He doesn't know how to use the machine.
Yeah, he does.
As well as she does.
It only allows you to make one portable costume at once.
And Kitty's been doing it for like a week straight.
She's burned through like all the filament that you need to make more costumes.
They're still discussing the matter when suddenly a hollow field begins to emit among them, showing Admiral Samidar. He had a spy eye follow Gladiator and co. when they left the room, so now he knows everything. And Warstar wrenches the wall apart, revealing not just the binary being, but a shitload more of the Imperial Guardsmen to fight. As the fight begins, Kitty's keen to fight the Guardsmen with everyone else, but Kurt steers her away from that, reminding her of the fate of everyone down below. She has to find a way to put the computer core out of commission before Samidar gets the chance to fire. And she's getting ready to run with that when a giant squid tries to engulf her.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Keyword being tries.
Right.
Yeah.
Sprite just slides right free of him, slipping a deck below to sprint through the ship's corridors.
I just want to underline the fact that she is literally wearing a Robin Hood cosplay.
Yep. She really is.
It is hard to describe it as anything else.
I mean, it's green, so I could say Fandral, but the hat is very much Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Peter Pan, maybe?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Behind her, the fight rages on, though it goes too well for Admiral Samidar's tastes. Unwilling to wait to see how this pans out, he instead activates a secret weapon he hooked up to Warstar, zapping everyone there to unconsciousness, no matter whose side they fight on behalf of.
Wow.
Meanwhile, Kit Kat has found her way to the computer room in time. She's being very careful about what she targets, quite conscious that anything could be life support controls. But she's a little too focused on her work, not noticing a defensive blaster turn to her and then fire. Nearly every time in the past, she's been able to phase her way to safety. Not this time, baby.
Oh shit, beams that can hit her.
Beams that can hit her.
Motherfucking
It's always
beams.
the goddamn beams.
So close, but close only counts in horseshoes. Instead, Samidar has the whole assembled crew of traitors paraded out on the bridge, including Captain Kirk. That's right, because in the background we had the return of Shi'ar Star Trek happening here.
I mean, Shi'ar Star Trek was on the cover of this comic, of this issue.
Yep. And Kirk was not going to stand for this shit. Not that it matters now, because he lost. The ship trains its weapons on San Francisco, ready to wipe the place off the globe.
The producer is having a little bit of zoomies.
But then at the last moment she comes. The Starjammer races out of nowhere to intercept the beam, which is apparently a thing you can do. You lose this one, Beams!
Beams lose?
Do they have a force field?
Did they just take it?
Apparently.
They
Took
just
it on the
bodied it?
chin.
They bodied the beam.
They soaked the damage.
Man, Beams won against Kitty, but Beams lost against the Starjammer.
Apparently.
Beams are 1-1.
This is a very strange game of rock, paper, scissors.
But also, that didn't look much like a beam before it hit them.
Eh.
This close, it's apparently impossible to block the Majestrix, as her likeness appears on every ship in the fleet, calling them all to task for their attack on Earth.
Yeah, someone's getting fired.
She's back with her people. The Earth is saved. Colossus appears to be in good health again. There's just one fly in the ointment. We broke our Professor X, and I don't think he's under warranty.
Oh, no.
Whoops.
Uh-oh.
How'd y'all like that?
4.
Yeah, 4.
This one, I would say, is a lower 4 than the last issue, but it's alright. It's pretty good.
Alright, what did you think?
I said also 4.
Yeah.
Alright. I think I'm at a 4. I liked that one actually quite a bit.
This was fun.
Alright, what do you think CMRO thought?
They thought it was terrible.
2.
2.
3.61.
Ah. Better than the second one, but not as good as the first one.
Huh.
According to CMRO.
According to CMRO.
I do not understand the logic of CMR.
They have bad opinions, as we've established.
Yeah.
They hate Scott and were mad that he was having a moment with his dad.
You know what?
A lot of people do have a very, ridiculous hatred of Scott. Like a fucking vitriolic hatred of Scott. It doesn't make any sense.
What, did they want him to kill his father?
No, they
just
want
hate
him to
Scott.
not be there. And not be happy.
Well, they usually get one of those things. How often is Scott actually happy?
Occasionally.
Yes, and, only so he can lose that happiness.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a very important aspect of it. When he finally finds happiness, it has to be wrenched away from him. That is the nature of Scott.
We only go out of our way to point out that happiness just before something happens. So, if we get to a point in a comic where Scott is having, a really good time, that's when you know shit's about to go south.
Yeah, man's about to get kicked in the nuts.
It's like
hard.
he's like the guy in the war movie who has a girl waiting back home.
He always has a girl waiting back home, right when you should not talk about the girl waiting back home.
Means the girl's at the very least going to cheat on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
though not traditionally.
no.
Anyway, that's going to be it for us this week. We look forward to talking to you next time. Bye!